Okay, so you're saying that Dave is an evil serial killer, and he is the one who has been forcing you to make all these long-ass videos?
Yeah. It is the only explanation.
All right, well, let's explore that theory a little bit. Maybe with a little role play.
Like, you want me to, like, be a sexy pirate?
No. But what if we went back to the Sharknado video, mentally? But instead of explaining Sharknado, we explain the Halloween franchise. And then you can roleplay what you think Dave, would be doing and thinking if that were the case.
That makes no sense to me.
Okay, who's the doctor here?
You are. Yeah, sorry. Do I have to drink Natty Light, too?
Yeah, that's like the whole thing.
Oh, my God. Well, I've got one right here. Good morning, America!
What's the pumpkin for?
Alright, so I love the Halloween theme because I think John Carpenter ripped off Linkin Park. It sounds exactly like the end of Transformers. Also, John Carpenter, when I was growing up, we just called him Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'm distracted because I've been watching this slow zoom on a jack-o'-lantern while the long-ass credits play for, I think, 2 years or like 390 lights now. Such a bad idea. Okay, that's over and things are about to get exciting because we're now in small town Illinois in 1963. Ooh, thrilling. I love Polish and/or racist people.
Nearly every Polish undertaking either started or was directed from
John Cena! Granted, it is Halloween. In POV, there are some horny teens making out in the window. I mean, if you squint hard enough, and yeah, okay, POV, you're getting a better view now, and they are definitely making out.
We are alone, aren't we?
And the one guy even clowns her a little bit. I don't know what clowning meant in 1963, but in 2009, during my first semester of college, one of my suite mates said it meant so. You're welcome for that little linguistic lesson. You thought you wouldn't learn anything from my videos, but you're wrong. Welcome to class, with an emphasis on ass, where the balls go. Write that down, it will be on the test.
I sweat so much I'm drowning.
Okay.
Hey Dave, any word on whether we could block my children from watching my channel? Anyway. The clowning teens head upstairs to place their balls God knows where.
The old glory hole!
And POV, we sneak in the completely unlocked and open back door, which is not a euphemism, but I understand why you'd think that given how we've started this video.
I want you to know that you're 100% right, and I'm wrong. And I just...
Get out of the glory hole!
And we grab a knife and oh, look at that! They're already finished clowning? This is filmed in a single take, which means according to my notes, the boyfriend went upstairs, had clown sex, got dressed, and came downstairs in the span of like 90 seconds.
Yeah.
I assume he's in a rush to get to the Guinness Book of World Records store and let them know that they have a new, probably recently single champion.
Congratulations! World's best.
Anyway, POV, we sneak upstairs to see the damage, and the girlfriend brushes her hair 100% completely naked, as every normal girl always does. I mean, combs could get caught in your underwear and rip your head entirely off. It's dangerous to comb with clothes on. She notices us, POV, and says, Michael! Michael! And Michael, well, he gets some very sloppy seconds. Also, if you took this audio and put it over a sex scene later in this movie, I bet you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference. Just saying, editor. Pay attention, future Jordan. This will be on your test.
Okay.
I was homeschooled for a little bit. Shut up.
Leave me alone!
Anyway, Michael goes outside and awkwardly freeze frames in front of his parents, and we realize that he's 6 years old, and actually, he's the one who was clowning.
Michael?
This is why God invented Xboxes. Before then, murdering your sister was the closest you could get to crushing noobs on Blood Gulch.
Is there really a God?
Xbox. It'll make your kid racist, but it will stop the kid from murdering you. There's your new slogan, Microsoft. You can have it for $420.69. But wait, let's not move forward yet.
Okay.
For some reason, I've read the original Halloween paperback by Richard Curtis, who wrote under the pseudonym Curtis Richard, just to give you a little taste of his creative talents, and it provides some insights into the film. Spoiler alert, this movie mostly leaves Myers an unexplained murderous enigma, but the novel gives us a full explanation for why a child might murder his naked sister. And yes, Dave, I know you think that's normal, but our viewers probably don't, so I'm gonna give an explanation for why. I know your explanation is, it's Tuesday.
Tuesday's great.
Anyway, said novel first transports the reader to ancient Ireland, where a disabled boy named Enda is rejected by the woman of his dreams because he isn't a lad worthy of that wench's pretty hole. That's a quote from the book, a real book that was sold. But really, what lad is? Whose hole might a lad be worthy of? But Enda responds to his whole rejection by brutally stabbing her in the boob. Oh, young love! As punishment, he is executed and then cursed by shamans to roam the earth till the end of time, reliving thy foul deed and thy foul punishment. Which, wait, how is that bad for Enda? They're forcing him to reincarnate into other lonely pervs that murder beautiful teenagers? That's like cursing the Trix rabbit to forever eat Trix yogurt. That's like his favorite thing.
Silly rabbit. Tricks are for
Clothes his own.
And I get that he'll also die, but there are plenty of people, like Dave, for whom that's part of the whole deal. You think the Trix rabbit doesn't try to kill himself every night? Really?
I'm finally going to have Trix yogurt, and I get...
Load my freaking lard carcass into the mud. No coffin, please. Just wet, wet mud.
You think I'm f***ing with you?
Fast forward a couple thousand years, and Michael Myers catches Enda's ancient Celtic serial killer herpes and spends his days creeping on his hot sister and pinching her boobs or ass. Another quote. I guess he's not a man to mix his meats.
We have the...
This is where we realize just how fascinated Richards is with 15-year-old boobs and how they flattened when Judy Myers brought the brush to her head and then rounded and filled again when the brush reached the bottom of its stroke. Never let it be said that Richards half-assed his novels. That's specificity that comes from questionable internet searches and asking your less lonely friends, who are probably criminals. Also, I thought it'd be fun for you all to know that earlier you apparently ogled a naked 15-year-old. Hey, where did my video's monetization go? Wait, who's that at the door? The FBI?
2 hours later.
That's okay, I fought them off single-handedly by just saying that Dave did it, so he's in jail now. Back to the novel. Michael, now writing an incest boner high, murders his sister by, you guessed it, shoving a knife into her right breast. That's poetry. And when boobs rhyme, we call that art. The rest of the book mostly plays out like the movie, but you can safely assume that Myers has a thick Irish accent.
I'm allowed to. Oh, you're not. What?
Okay, are we caught up?
Was that really in the book?
Yeah.
Yes, Curtis Richards, Curtis, you've done it again. Oh, in my mind's eye, I see it now. A flattened, then rounded bosom.
I'm gonna type every word I know.
So now it's the day before Halloween, Halloween Eve, or Halloweenine. And it's a different part of Illinois, which is good because I'm a sucker for globe-trotting adventures, for Illinois trotting adventures. And this part of Illinois has a cranky doctor man and a sexy nurse lady driving a car through the rain.
That is the law.
They both work at a mental institution that apparently employs a pretty liberal policy when it comes to keeping patients in their rooms. This must be the inspiration for Shutter Island. And here it works about as well as there because one particularly crazy dude hops on the car and messes with the nurse until she gets out and he steals the car. From there, we return to the first part of Illinois that we saw because apparently this is a 2 Illinois city spanning adventure and it looks much happier than the time that baby Michael Myers went ham on his sister's illegally young breasts.
Later.
A young Jamie Lee Curtis named Lori is asked by her father to
drop the key off at the Myers place
because I guess he's too damn busy selling houses and crushing cocaine to do it himself. What an important man.
I drive a Dodge Stratus!
On the way, she encounters the little boy named Tommy that she babysits, who hopefully won't walk in while she's naked combing, because you know how little boys are. And the kid is like, you're gonna babysit me tonight. Halloween night, right?
Same time, same place.
What else would a teenager like me do on Halloween night? Or what else would a kid like you do?
Like popcorn?
Halloween is for parents to go to an almost certain sex party somewhere while the children all stare at each other until the adults return in a much more relaxed state.
Don't you know what happens on Halloween? Yeah.
Natty!
Why? Because that's his job.
Also, there appears to be a creepy dude in the house that neither of them see. I hope he isn't Irish.
Dice. Play dice.
There he is again. And again. Dave, can you tell if he's drinking a Guinness? Welcome back from federal prison, by the way. Have you always stared endlessly into space? Anyway, Tommy gets bullied at school, and let me tell you, as somebody who got sent to the principals for being mean to a kid in 3rd grade, these kids are total posers.
The boogeyman is coming. Leave me alone. He doesn't believe it.
I am coming.
Their chants are terrible.
Boogeyman.
I mean, smashing his juicy pumpkin isn't bad, but really that's the first thing they should have done. Also, if they could convince the serial killer to do his thing, well, that would be next level bullying. But then again, Tommy is so clueless, he doesn't even notice Myers driving next to him for like half an hour.
Leave me alone.
To be fair, the Irish are known for being stealthy. There's probably one behind you right now.
Get hell! Where the did you come from? I was behind the thing.
Oh, by the way, Mr. Cranky Doctor guesses that Myers is returning to his hometown to stab as many right breasts as he can.
He was doing very well last night.
And so he also travels there to grab him before they're stabbed. Also, Myers apparently stole this dead farmer or whatever's clothes. He also stole his sister's tombstone, which is weird.
Why do they do it?
Because there aren't even boobs on it.
I have a place for that.
But yeah, back in the hometown, 3 separate right breasts walk and decide because Lori and her friend Annie will be babysitting tonight that the 3rd friend should sneak her boyfriend over so that she can have sex in a safe place, I guess.
Exploring uncharted territory.
Totally charted. Vámonos, amigos.
And now, don't worry. Lori will keep her blouse buttoned because...
Guys think I'm too smart.
And she's right. All men only are interested in women with emaciated right hemispheres of their brains.
Poor Lori.
Speaking of, there's one such boy right now. Well, dude is everywhere, as is Annie's cop daddy. Lori wistfully watches some kids trick-or-treating at like 3 p.m. That's not fun. That's obnoxious as hell. It's still light out, you little turds. I don't want to see you until it's darker outside than Dave's stint in prison.
Well, kiddo.
Have you ever been in a Turkish prison?
Later that evening, Annie picks Lori up and literally asks her,
What's the pumpkin for?
Annie, it's Halloween. She's gonna cut open the top and then sit inside and float down the river until it disintegrates. What else would you do with a pumpkin on Halloween?
I brought it for Tommy. I figured a jack-o'-lantern would keep him occupied.
Ah! I'm married!
Oh no!
My dad!
Will he notice the smoke? No, he will not.
Hi, Annie.
He's too busy listening to the alarm at a hardware store where somebody has stolen some rope and some knives. Seems innocent enough.
But it wasn't.
They leave with Myers driving literally like 6 feet behind them, and they never notice, and the doc shows up.
Pardon me, I'm,
Pig dicks.
To take the cop to the old Myers house and find a partially eaten dog, I think.
What is that? It's a dog.
Still warm.
He got hungry.
Which totally messes with the movie lore. Irish people don't eat dogs, they eat stew and potatoes, except for that one time during the 19th century. Too soon?
What's this?
Doc is packing heat.
I do have a servant.
He volunteers to guard the house in case Myers comes back for another dog snack, for some more puppies to chow.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
All Doc really achieves, though, is creeping out Tommy's bullies.
Get your ass away from there.
Oh, shit! Get the f*** out of here!
Bully prevention starts with 40-year-old men with guns. So, okay, now Lori finally babysits Tommy and learns a terrible secret.
Why do you keep him under there?
Mom doesn't like me to have him.
He reads comic books, but not just comic books.
Neutron Man, I can understand why.
I mean, if I remember correctly, Neutron Man is filthy.
Got a blast.
Tommy also claims to see Myers outside, but nobody believes a little Neutron Man reading pervert.
Lori, the boogeyman is outside. Look.
You don't have to.
Go watch TV.
Shame on you! Shame!
Also, Nasty Tommy watches the 1951 version of The Thing, which, hey, John Carpenter would later direct another version of it. It's like me talking about Halloween, but in the place where I did Sharknado. So there you go watch that. Annie also babysits, though she's pretty annoyed by the family dog trying to warn her of the dog-eating serial killer outside, so Myers helps her out by murdering that dog.
Never mind.
Thoughtful.
Oops.
Annie spills butter on her clothes.
No.
So she almost completely strips, which isn't actually that tough because she wasn't wearing a bra anyway. Practical. And also, she doesn't ask, but I'm sure Myers would be willing to help lick off that butter if she wants, especially if she was willing to let him call her by his sister's name. But no.
Oh, yeah!
She has to wash her buttery attire in a freestanding laundry shed, but ends up locked in and ultimately stuck in the window with her ass hanging out. We call that a lemony snicket because it's a series of unfortunate events.
There has to be something we can use to pull it.
Eventually, she's saved by the kid that she's babysitting, Lindsay Wallace, and Annie horny talks her boyfriend who just can't stop thinking about all that buttery attire.
Stuck, huh?
Annie's getting real horned up herself.
I have big pussy!
So she takes Lindsay to Lori so she can go pick up her boyfriend.
So what is this big
pussy? Do Tommy and Lindsay's parents know each other? Surely they're all at the same secret Halloween sex party for neighborhood parents. I mean, they should have hired Lori to babysit both kids rather than hire two separate babysitters. That's economics 101. Make it trickle down, guys.
Our aim is to increase our national...
Unfortunately, picking up her boyfriend proves challenging because Annie's arms are very small, and also her boyfriend probably weighs a lot more than her, and also because she's murdered to death in the car, when it turns out this is one of those neighborhoods where nobody can hear car honks.
You're not really listening to me, are you? What? Oh!
Oh, natty light. Did you see that we have 16 ounces now? Because it's like, we keep making, you know, the videos bigger and better.
The budgets are getting bigger.
The budgets are soaring.
Is that not right, Mr. Scream?
But where Annie hornily failed, her friend hopes to hornily succeed, pulling up to the house with some stud named Bob. Ooh, nothing hotter than calling out the name Bob. Oh, Bobby!
Bob? Totally.
They sneak inside to scream Bob all over the place and find the house dark and abandoned, but that's no problem. Now, the serial killer might be... but that's for future Bob to worry about.
That's dumb.
So now they're bobbing like crazy in some random person's bed. And they finish.
Is that all you can say?
Yeah.
So Bob goes to grab beer, where he's attacked by Mike and stabbed Spended. But hey, at least he died fully, emptied.
Oh, fantastic. Utterly fantastic.
Fantastico!
Good for Bob. Ouch.
Go get me a beer.
Myers heads upstairs to kill the other girl, but he does so dressed as a silly ghost. Ooh!
Real cute.
Look out, it's the bedsheet banshee, the duvet demon, the dickhead wearing a cloth.
This is going nowhere.
Then the girl makes a joke that I don't get at all.
What's the matter? Can I get your ghost, Bob?
What does it mean?
And tries to make a phone call when it doesn't land. But unfortunately, she's strangled with said phone. Which is actually the whole theme of this new comedy club that Dave and I are opening. It's called Tell a Good Joke or a Mental Patient Will Strangle You.
And I'm your host, $1 has some fun.
We're workshopping the name, but I think it'll be fun. Maybe we'll sell it on Shark Tank as a reality TV show. Who knows? Maybe we can have a 24-ounce Natty Light next time.
We're gonna get the show started with a game called...
Lori actually listens to her friend get strangled and sort of worries that maybe she's not living her best life.
You all right?
So once she confirms that the kids are asleep, Lori slowly walks across the street to the other house. And look, I get why this movie's a classic, but that doesn't mean I can't wish that 30 minutes of this film's 90-minute runtime weren't spent slowly walking in silence.
Bob?
The doctor realizes, oh hey look, it's a car from the mental institution where I'm employed full-time just across the road. Not sure how I didn't see that at any point during the last 12 hours, but I'm gonna walk over there slowly to investigate. Oh, slowly. Speaking of, here's Lori walking around the house. Let's say slowly. But then, hey, she finds naked Myers' tombstone. Oh, and also dead Annie, I guess. Oh, and a jack-o'-lantern. Oh, and also dead Bob. And you know, what's her boobs? Lots of things in here. It's a downright point-and-click adventure. Something fun no matter where you look, including, unfortunately, Michael Myers. But thankfully, he's about as good at stabbing as Dave is at drawing titty composites. Where are the composites, Dave? I promised my patrons over at patreon.com/DrJordanBreeding that they would get a titty composite.
Sorry.
But even a shitty glancing stab is pretty scary, and Lori falls down the stairs in her surprise and is saddened to find all the doors locked. But then Myers gives her an idea.
Now you try it.
So now she's outside screaming for help, but unfortunately all the parents are again at their secret sex party, and they do not want to be disturbed. They got their holes out and stuff. They're not gonna close up shop just for some bratty kid.
Hello, help me! Man, please help me! Please!
Speaking of, it seems like even Tommy might be holing around up in his room because he is, again, very slow to let Lori back in after she realized she forgot.
The keys! The keys!
Oh! I'm just saying, he was perfectly pretty good up there. And if Dave and Michael are any indication, boys cannot be trusted.
Hurry!
Lori gets inside and turns off the lights.
Hurry!
Huh, that's usually something the serial killer does, but maybe she's hoping his sight is T-Rex-esque based on movement?
Suspicions based on...
I mean, don't rule it out because dude still has terrible stabbing aim. Turns out Lori, though, is actually pretty good at stabbing.
Success!
And as they say, sewing needle defeats serial killer next. So Michael falls to the ground, apparently dead. And Lori grabs his knife, chucks it, and then PTSDs for a bit. Except, oops, he obviously isn't dead because a sewing needle death would be such a girly way to go. And Lori runs upstairs and hides in a closet. Well, I guess she's new to this. That's fine. My first video was a Jackass parody that my teacher gave me a D on and sent me to the principal's office for because you're not allowed to depict piss in school projects.
I'm gonna pee in this cup and Jordan's gonna drink it. That's it.
Hey, check this out.
Hey dude, it's pretty hot. Why don't you have a little bit?
Thanks, man.
Oh god.
You just drank pee, man. That was real.
Jordan's trying to break a stick on his knee.
Ah!
Well, the joke's on her, because now I make a living making nothing but videos with piss in them. There's a cup full of warm piss hidden in every video I've ever made. Find them all and win a trip to the piss factory with me, Wee Willy Wonka.
Nope, scratch that, reverse it.
And to be fair to Lori, Myers initially seems about as good with closets as he is with knives. Takes him a long time to get in there.
2 hours later.
Lori grabs a coat hanger. Well, she stabs him with it. It's weird to have these sort of stabbing scenes without any gnarly sound effects. It's pretty subdued for a stabbing moment. But then she stabs him with his own knife, which she's much more accurate with, and Michael doesn't seem to love it. But just like Dave's herpes and also Dave, Michael refuses to die. So he gets back up and chokes Lori with some very tasteful choking ADR. While she pulls off his mask to reveal that he's not a very conventionally attractive serial killer. Which is weird because every Netflix show I've ever seen, the serial killers are hot as hell.
I get very scared, but you know, he's also really dreamy.
Yummy, yummy. Look at these serial killers. It's like, murder my butt.
Too much?
That's perfect.
I'm not the first person to point out that movies often make bad guys deformed in some ways, except for on Netflix apparently. But it feels like a hat on a hat to make him insane and wear a weird mask and have a droopy eye? I mean, how would he even develop that anyway? He was a normal looking kid. It just seems mean to make his eye droop all of a sudden. And speaking of mean, the good doctor outside notices the screaming children running away and walks right into the house and shoots Myers a half dozen times. Now that's some mental health therapy I could get behind. We should give every doctor a gun, just in case. Anyway, Myers falls out the window and seems dead, but no. Hey, remember what I said about Lincoln Park?
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
Okay, now imagine Dave. What do you see? I mean, I don't really notice anything different. Still wearing the Michael Myers mask like always? Yep. Interesting. Keep going.
One of their number was butchered. This is the wake.
The second Halloween movie begins in Haddonfield, Illinois on October 31st, 1978, and randomly with Mr. Sandman. But wait, hey, that's the same night as the last one. Let's just rewatch the end of the last movie real quick.
A few minutes later.
Eventually, there's some new footage of a goofy-ass neighbor who is like, what's going on?
I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight.
No, you haven't, dude.
Is this some kind of joke?
People have been running around screaming and getting murdered literally next door for the past 3 hours, and you've done and heard exactly nothing.
I didn't do fucking shit.
Nobody has. Nobody's around. He's probably had one 7-year-old ask for a Snickers, and he lost his shit.
Trick or treat!
I'll kill you.
Speaking of, the doctor, named, I guess, Dr. Loomis, at birth, gallops away from the neighbor like he's chasing down a squirrel that might know where Myers went.
Ohio Silver.
Credits! But this time, there's a skull in the jack-o'-lantern. Must be Jack. I am Jack's O-lantern.
The name's Jack.
Just jacking it.
Anyway, POV children and dogs and Loomis
I shot him in the heart.
complaining that he shot Myers 6 times, but he didn't die. Boo-hoo. Yesterday I shot Dave 6 times and he still legally has brain function, but you don't hear me complaining about it.
It's a vegetable.
Suck it up.
So selfish and so foolish.
Myers then sneaks up on an old lady making a sandwich for her husband.
If I had a rock, I'll bust your head, bitch.
And steals her knife.
Come.
He doesn't kill her though, because her breasts are way older than 15. Yeah, that's what what Myers is talking about. Myers gets in there and, springs from the floor and kills her? Was he lying on the ground? Did he cut a hole in her living room floor and jump on a trampoline that shot him up from the basement? I'm sure that's it. Movie magic.
The movies.
Cops show up to the house where Lori is now passed out and load her into an ambulance, and look at all these fun hats.
Look at all your different colored hats.
Also, look at this injured pirate that we never learn anything about. Probably got slapped around by Jack Sparrow. Don't publish an op-ed about it in the Washington Post. It'll be a whole thing.
I want to marry you.
Lori is treated by a doctor who I guess knows her personally and who puts her to sleep.
Oh, Lori.
While he stitches up her arm? No. Against her will?
Please don't fall asleep.
Kinda sounds like Dr. Kim from Scrubs.
Can I put my pants back on?
Fortunately, when she wakes up, she's ogled by a cute EMT named Jimmy, after the penis. And like, do they know each other?
Probably not, but maybe.
She is shockingly into it.
That's shocking.
This is starting to feel like one of those special happy ending hospitals, but not hospice. Throughout the night, Jimmy continually sneaks into her room and gets kicked out by nurses.
Handshake!
And somebody reveals that they've yet to contact Lori's parents, even though they were apparently at the filthy parent sex party that everybody was at earlier.
Dr. Mixter told me they were at the same party he was.
Now, get undressed.
They've now left said party, and now the problem is that the phones just don't work. I just said that the phones don't work, Lori, but sure, try it for yourself.
I will find you, and I will.
What the hell do I know? It's not like I'm a doctor. Oh, does it not work? Weird. Kermit the Frog sipping tea meme.
I will kill you.
The hospital's sexily overweight security guard heads outside to fix the phones somehow, but first he looks in the trash can and is attacked by a trash cat.
Smelly cat.
And then notices a broken lock to the storage area and also several other broken locks, like every lock is broken. And then he's attacked by disorganization bordering on malpractice. And finally, he gets hammered. Which, like, slay, king.
Yes, yes, yes.
This video is gonna crush on TikTok.
Probably not, but maybe.
And while that's going on, Loomis and Daddy Cop drive around the neighborhood looking for Myers.
Oh, hello.
They think they see him, but oops, looks like a classic case of cop injecting his butthole with meth and then driving through crowded neighborhood streets on Halloween.
What the hell was that?
How else would you explain how fast he was going and how hard the car exploded? The kid, inexplicably dressed with both Myers' mask and his exact coveralls, is too dead to quickly confirm his identity. And even the dentist hoping to use dental records is like, oh, well, he's too burned, but his teeth look incredible, just pristine, even though he exploded.
When I discovered Oral-B mouthwash.
That's a man who only ate apples, like healthy stuff, like are pumpkins healthy?
Because someone clearly that pumpkin, it's been
Unfortunately, Cop Daddy learns that his daughter has died, and double unfortunately, the information is relayed via this goober.
3 kids. One of them was Annie.
Have I ever brought up how weird it is that everybody's always closing dead people's eyes in movies?
Oh, come on!
Like, do people do that in real life?
I'm cutting them out.
Let me just put it on the record that if you die, I do not want to close your eyes. Either close them yourself before you die, or prepare to be buried in sunglasses.
He's just resting.
If you want me to close your eyes, sign up for my Patreon. And speaking of loose women likely to meet unfortunate fates at the hands of angry Irish lunatics,
You have my attention.
here's some lady who complains that she's been bobbing for apples too much.
Actually bobbing in water, no less.
And if I've learned anything from Indiana Jones, that means she probably has to clap now. Clap, 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 clap. She's a nurse at the hospital and immediately is called into a room to find another less cute but just as horny EMT. They immediately head to the hospital hot tub because Special Thai Hospital confirmed.
Wink.
And there are some pixelated boobies and then there are some unpixelated boobies, which Dave claims he much prefers. He's been telling me that for like 3 weeks now. It's not even video related. That's just how he answers his phone these days. It's like, ring, ring. Hello, I love unpixelated boobies. And I'm like, I know, can you just edit the video?
All right.
Anyway, they get in the hot tub, but it's too hot. And like, you're telling me Halloween 2.
Steamy.
So the EMT gets out and flaunts some boy butt just to deflate the situation. And he also gets strangled. And the nurse sucks on Myers' hand for a while because, well, that's presumably what she's been trained to do. The onboarding process at this hooker hospital is very thorough.
You want to go for breakfast later?
Just being thorough.
And then she's drowned in the hot tub just as thoroughly, which is thoroughly gross. Let's get out of this sexy hospital for a minute because people are protesting the old Meyer house. You know, the house that's been empty for 15 years. Well, that'll show Myers that they don't approve of his murders.
This record is in honor of George Floyd.
I mean, after all,
One of their number was butchered.
great point, doctor. Very normal line.
Heck natural.
A couple of random dudes run up and are like, hey, have you seen Ben? The guy that Lori said that she kind of liked in the first movie?
Ben Tramer? I knew it!
Well, we, the random dudes, last saw Ben drunk and wandering around. Now, we're supposed to assume that this is who got hit by the methed out cop. And the doctor thinks that too. But crucially, he doesn't think to ask for, I don't know, a description of Ben. Like, say, if he was wearing an insane mask and coveralls. Feels like he should ask that.
It's a whole thing, don't bother.
If nothing else, he'll stop him from having to talk to that dentist again, which is good because dentists are probably just as evil as an unhinged serial killer.
You have a talent for causing things.
I don't have dental insurance, but I do have a Patreon.
I knew it!
They also learned that Michael Myers maybe entered an elementary school after hours and off screen, so they go there and are like, yep, looks like he bled around a little bit and wrote Sam Hain on the wall in blood, which I guess confirms his Irishness and evilness because Sam Hain is the name of the Lord of the Dead.
It's Gaelic. Oh, it's gay. It's so Gaelic.
Legend has it that Sam Hain is a little lad who loves berries.
Berries and cream, berries and
Come.
Or maybe it's just the name of a festival. I guess it depends on which Halloween movie you ask.
Hey.
Before Loomis can process all this, the nurse from the beginning of the last movie shows up and is like, hey, the governor says you gotta get back to the psych ward because he doesn't want the state getting any more involved in this. There's a state marshal outside and he's gonna take you back. And the doc is like, damn, checkmate, bitch. I'm the bitch. And I'm checkmated like a bitch.
Bitch.
Also in the car, he clarifies that druids had fire rituals and burn shit, and actually witches aren't the problem, it's the unconscious mind, so just be aware of that.
Sam Hain isn't evil spirits. It isn't goblins, ghosts, or witches. It's
a rat's ass.
Hermione's just like in your mind, dude.
Hermione, is that you?
Oh, hey, Jimmy's back. But unfortunately, Laurie sleeps with her eyes open and flashes back to a woman who isn't her usual mother.
I'm not your mother.
And if she's not revealed to be related to Michael, I will make Dave eat my hat, sir. But the nurses seem to think that she's reacted poorly to the anesthesia that she didn't even need in the first place, and one runs off to find the doctor.
Hello.
Oh, stabbed in the eyeball with a syringe to death.
You hate to see it.
She's shocked, but she should really pull the syringe out of her own eye before she judges him.
Verily, verily, I say unto you.
Meanwhile, Jimmy checks out the ladies' lounge and it's like, all right, Jimmy, get it, Jimmy. A lounge full of ladies, sign Dave up.
I volunteer.
Myers, meanwhile, goes to stab Laurie, but he's Buellered. Laurie's actually hobbling around somewhere else. Hey, doesn't it feel like there should be at least, like, even just one cop in this hospital with her? Like in case a serial killer that she narrowly escaped didn't just give up and go to Waffle House or something?
$5 including Coke.
AITA here?
No.
Yes. Also, did the power go out? Did we see that? Did anybody mention it? Or do they not want the lights too bright for risk of showing a little bit too much of their, healing methods?
Jacking it.
Smart. All nurses look the same in the dark, right, Dave? Yeah.
They are the same.
Oh, right. There's another nurse in here, but her blood is everywhere, so none of the EMTs are hitting on her at all. Although that doesn't stop Jimmy from hitting his head when he slips in the blood. Like a cartoon hippopotamus slipping on a banana peel.
They called him Slippin' Jimmy.
Yet another nurse tries to escape in a car, but like most horror cars and my music career, it just won't start. And in fact, every car in the lot has been tampered with, so she runs back inside because, well, there may be a serial killer in there, but literally anything is better than walking on foot. Yes, even getting hoisted by her own scalp. Laurie and Myers finally see each other and she runs away and cleverly rolls this bed on wheels into Myers' path, which will almost certainly slow Myers down for like at least 2 seconds, maybe 3.
When it's with me, you only need to because I'm so intense.
I bet one of those wheels has a tendency to stick, but really it's hard to make Myers move any slower than he already is. He must have seen the Slippin' Jimmy incident from earlier. He's being very careful. Laurie climbs out a window as Myers impotently slashes at her.
Bow, bow.
Then she beats Myers to an elevator because, again, he's very afraid of slipping, and also Michael seems worried about his hand getting stuck in the door. These don't seem like big problems for an invincible neckbeard leprechaun, but I guess I haven't seen a Lucky Charms commercial in a while. Maybe they're sensitive.
Oh, hello, Miss Strawberry Sniggles. Oh my God, I see demons.
Laurie hides in a random car, and hey, it's revealed that, yeah, Laurie is Michael's sister, born just 2 years before he was committed, and also her parents died, and she was adopted by her current absent parents who kept the whole thing a secret.
It's a secret.
This excites Loomis immensely, and he threatens the marshal with a gun and forces him to drive to the hospital, which again really should already have a few cops standing guard.
Whoa, bumpy road ahead.
Laurie doesn't have to be his sister for Myers to target her. It's one of the stupidest things about these secret relatedness reveals that happen in every horror movie, even unironically in satirical slashers like Scream.
Randy was our uncle.
It makes no difference, my guy. Serial killers kill lots of people, not just their sisters. If anything, I'd rather there be some secret vendetta, like because Laurie once ran over Michael's favorite Lego rocket ship or some shit. Now that would be tight.
Hell yeah!
But we don't have any more time to ponder my spec script for Halloween 14 Rocket Knife, because clearly concussed Jimmy hops in the car and just dies on the horn. The Thanks for the help, Jimmy. Thanks for the assist. Lori gets out and Loomis, Nurse Lady, and Hostage Marshal drive up and Lori offers up just the shittiest little ah. They don't hear her and they head inside. Oh, now she can scream? Well, nobody can hear you except me, Lori, and I'm not gonna do shit.
I'm dead inside.
Lori runs to the door so Myers can slow-ass lumber towards her forever until, Loomis lets her in. Hooray. But Myers apparently doesn't see the glass door and slams through it like a huge-ass pigeon. Loomis once again shoots Myers a ton. And he falls down, but he's still not full dead. And also, Loomis is a really uncomfortably close talker.
Are you all right?
Good, not great. The marshal goes down to inspect Myers, wink, and gets his throat slit, while the nurse lady heads outside to try and raise somebody on the radio. So just like last movie, it's now Loomis and Lori, baby, back in the saddle again. They end up in a room, and honestly, that door seems like it'll hold Myers forever, but my bad.
Yeah, right, that's your bad.
Loomis tries to shoot him, but forgot that he has no bullets, I guess. Can this doctor not count to 6?
I can only count to 4.
Stab! Lori, though, has a gun with bullets, and she shoots Myers in both eyes, which should probably kill him, but mostly just makes it harder for him to see. He lumbers around, swinging his little knife, while Loomis and Lori, dynamic duo, open a bunch of gas valves, which he is attracted to, like a Dave to a... Lori runs away, and Loomis Iron Mans himself to snap Myers' ass like a rubber band. Of course, Myers is still able to Terminator firewalk for a minute before eventually, yeah, he collapses and is presumed dead, but he probably isn't, if I had to bet.
You might be right.
Lori wanders outside and gets put in an ambulance, but where are they gonna take her? The hospital is exploded and understaffed. Who will help her rub one out? What am I saying? This is Illinois. Every establishment is secretly a happy establishment. Let's listen to Mr. Sandman again on our way out.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a stab.
No. I'm making them kiss because I am a girl now.
That's kind of weird. Indeed it is. Continue.
Mom, I'm on a diet. You want an oinker for a daughter?
Weirdly, chronologically, the next film in this story is Halloween 4. And Halloween 4 depicts the events of October 30th, 1988. That is, the events 10 years after the events depicted in Halloween 2. And what events are eventing 10 years later? Spooky shit. Pumpkins, skeletons, grainy film shake, you know, spooky shit.
Spooky.
Also, it's raining and an ambulance heads to a sanitarium to pick up Michael Myers because psych wards are always door-dashing crazy people around.
You gotta smell the butt to know if it's right.
Yeah.
So wait, they grabbed his body from the fire and took him to an insane asylum, I guess?
I guess he like woke up in the ash and they're like, whoa, that's crazy.
That's shocking.
Inside the sanitarium, they find a Weasley little security guard and also the son of the living god.
Jesus ain't got nothing to do with this place.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, strange little man. A doctor guy we've never seen before is like, technically this big hulking boy is still Loomis' patient because I guess that huge gas explosion that engulfed him and Myers in flame was just a sort of low-grade fire engulfing gas explosion. Like it hurts, but it's not any worse than accidentally touching a waffle iron or blowing up a 7-Eleven. Ow! But Loomis isn't here at this exact moment, so they load Myers up and grub-hub him over to... shit, he woke up.
Light sleeper.
But hey, did you know that Myers has a shitty-at-sleeping niece?
Light sleeper.
She is, in fact, Lori's daughter, and Lori herself has been dead for 11 months for some reason.
Demon kill her.
So the girl, named Jamie, lives with some other family, which includes a technically not actually really her sister.
We're not really sisters, Jamie.
Makes sense.
We also learned that these events do not take place in Japan because the technically not related sisters never kiss.
Like a sister?
Jamie, sometimes
Like a real sister?
So definitely this is not a Japanese movie, because otherwise...
Sushi!
I have a Crunchyroll subscription, and let me tell you, it is not going to waste. I actually don't, but if Crunchyroll, you want to sponsor my channel.
No. No, it's a hard no.
By the way, is the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis's character's daughter is named Jamie, is that an Easter egg? Were those invented yet in the 80s? Was there cinema before the MCU?
Compliments of Tony Stark.
I don't know. But the pseudo sister named Rachel sends Jamie upstairs to go fart in her closet. Ah, crap! It's actually Michael Myers. Oh, actually, it's a nightmare, or rather a
nasty old dream,
if you will.
I will.
The nastiest and oldest of dreams.
That was vile.
I mean, Dave's had nastier dreams, but they're not very old. If you catch my drift. Anyway, now it's the next day, which, if you know anything about October, is Halloween. And yes, they still live in Haddonfield. I'd consider moving, but I'm sure the economic opportunities are just incredible in Haddonfield, Illinois.
Sardine tourism!
You probably make tons of soybeans, which is known, as we all know, as nature's gold beans.
Soy! Soy! Soy!
And speaking of food, you'd better regulate it unless...
You want an oinker for a daughter?
No, of course not. Pig. What you want is for her to go on a date with Brady tonight.
Do you know how important that is?
And yet, no! Her parents are like, we've got an important dinner date with somebody.
Tonight is very important for your father and me.
Wink. And they imply that there are business implications, and I bet there are. It's business time. Because this dinner party is definitely just Haddonfield's annual parent sex party.
Giggity.
And if they put out, they'll probably get promoted to lead soybean designer.
Most impressive.
The point is, Rachel has to cancel on Brady and babysit Jamie tonight. You cannot have Natty.
Stupid drunk dog!
Jamie hears Rachel's frustration and feels sad until she's bribed with ice cream. Clever girl. Unfortunately for Jamie, having an uncle who's a little unconventional has made her a favorite bully target.
Boogeyman! Boogeyman! Jamie's uncle
It's John C.
Well, that and the fact that she isn't currently wearing a costume, which feels like a lesser issue.
Hey, Jamie, where's your costume?
Let he who is without a serial killer for an uncle and or a sexy costume cast the first mocking orphan chant.
Verily, verily, I say unto you.
Jamie's an orphan!
Jesus said that.
Jesus ain't got nothing to do with this.
You're right. I keep forgetting. Elsewhere, Loomis does finally stagger into work, and he is looking rough. The man's face has more lines on it than the toilet seat at a 70s disco club. He needs a better pillow. This one is just f***ing him up. But yeah, he's like, what the heck, dude? Michael Myers is evil personified. He can't be Instacarted. And the other doctor's like, nah. And then immediately receives a phone call that's like, hey, yeah, Michael Myers' ambulance flipped and everybody inside died. But other than that, everything's fine.
And I will kill you. I see, thank you.
And Loomis is like, dang it, I told you. And they go to the crash site to find the ambulance just covered in blood. Like, really, it's too much blood. Like, they must have picked up the Kool-Aid Man at some point during their trip.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of, you think the Kool-Aid Man is the juice and the jug is his clothes? Or is he the jug and the juice is his blood?
Well, it's kind of like how our brain drives around a skeleton.
Okay, what if we poured him into 10 different cups?
He'd probably be dead because it's like if you poured my brain into 10 different cups. The real question is, are his eyeballs and mouth floating around the juice?
Well, if the jug is his body, then maybe that's just where it is. That's just his face is on his body, which is a glass jug.
Right, that makes sense.
But it does seem scary how easy it is for his brain to slip out the top. Yeah. There's not a top on his body.
An evolutionary advantage.
Yeah, it's not great. Especially he does so many dangerous things like busting through walls.
Like, is this drinking Kool-Aid like horrifying to him?
Oh my god, he's like, that's my friend!
Open wide, kids, because I'm gonna grape you in the mouth!
Anyway, whatever. We need to nail this down because Dave is trying to cook up some erotic fan art for our patrons, and we want to make sure that it is perfectly anatomically correct so that it's maximally sexy. Is the dick glass or juice?
Oh yeah! Juice dick!
He's going to grape them.
Yeah, in the mouth.
Right.
So we were talking about something else.
Darkness took me, and I strayed out of thought and come.
Loomis rushes to Haddonfield, but on the way stops for gas or whatever and is scandalized when nobody comes out and he's forced to dirty his own hands, pumping his own gas like a commoner.
Ethnic.
Oh,
no!
But the reason he's forced to soil himself is because Myers is already here, stabbing one worker guy so he can presumably steal his coveralls, and also murdering some other guy because when you've killed one, just kill the other. You know, it's a slow day at the murder office.
Oh boy, here I go killing again.
Loomis is terrified, but Abraham Lincoln doesn't really seem worried about it. This isn't his first murderer rodeo, am I right?
Oh, now you f***ed up.
Loomis sees Myers and is like, hey man, any chance I could get you to kill me instead of going on another rampage? And shockingly, Myers says nothing.
Crickets, crickets, crickets.
So Loomis tries shooting him because that's worked so well in the past.
I don't know what I expected.
Albert Einstein said that the definition of insanity is shooting Michael Myers. So really, who's the crazy one? Loomis presumably misses, so he runs back outside, only for Myers to almost run him over with the truck and also Rube Goldberg explode the entire gas station, and also Loomis's car, and, you know, even Loomis a little bit. Loomis got pretty decent ups for a limping, burned doctor. What he still sucks at, though, is hitchhiking. But hey, maybe he's nice. Bummer. Well, hopefully this insane preacher... Perfect. And the insane preacher is also hunting the apocalypse, who tends to manifest as a human with a name. Why, that sure sounds like Michael Myers, but now that would be silly. Myers' power come from the ghost of an ancient Irish incel.
Top of the morning to you.
Leave this movie forever, please. Bye. Bye. Jamie and Rachel ride in Rachel's friend's car, and choices need to be made. Does Jamie want to say screw trick-or-treating and grab ice cream? Or if she chooses trick-or-treating, well, should they go get a last-minute costume from the same store where Brady works?
Chicken.
Because as we all know, that looked pretty desperate. And boys hate girls who show them attention and affection.
All men are awful.
That's my biggest turnoff. My wife hasn't spoken to me in 7 years, and it is hot.
Too hot.
But no, stupidly, they decide yes to the tricks and the treats and Brady store shopping. And so Rachel coyly and desperately immediately makes out with Brady for a second before being like, oh, by the way, we're not going on a date in like an hour. And he's pissed. And he does seem like a dick, but also, I mean, I get it. That's not a lot of warning.
Why didn't you tell me before? I mean, it's 5 o'clock. Somewhere.
Also, he does eyeball the other chick in the store, who, to be fair, is acting very undesperately.
Off, Wade.
Jamie picks out a costume that's eerily reminiscent of the one that Michael wore to stab his sister's 15-year-old bosoms way back when, because Jamie's got taste.
So wretchedly fabulous!
And she's also got hallucinations of being a boy.
Are you filled with pride?
And being attacked by Michael Myers, who I guess found a replacement William Shatner mask.
Captain's log.
So now it's Halloween night, and kids be throwing paper in the trees. Just absolute anarchy.
Badass. It is badass.
We need somebody to come clean this place up. Rachel's parents have already left the house. It's Jamie's parents who have also left this mortal coil.
Dead.
So Rachel and Jamie attempt to put Jamie in a candy coma, a Snickers slumber, a Twix torpor.
So, ladies.
So, losers.
Stacy, relax.
I'm sorry.
Rachel carries a little purse with her in case one of the houses requires a credit card, or maybe if there's a tampon emergency. Oh, maybe that's what happened in the ambulance. If Michael had a time of the month, it definitely hit on Halloween.
Oh no, my period.
Anyway, they run into the bullies from earlier, and it turns out they legitimately were just upset that Jamie didn't have a cool costume. And now that she does, everybody's best friends.
That clown costume's really cool. Really?
For real?
It really is that simple, Dave. Everybody would be friends with you if you just threw on a nice, sexy clown outfit that's not covered in blood and tears. I don't think they like that.
People are dumb. They don't know the difference.
Speaking of the sexiest thing I can imagine, they end up at the sexy girl from the store's house, and well, she's barely wearing any clothes, and it turns out that Brady is there. Betrayal! Judas!
Well, I'll just let you get back to Little Miss Hot Panties.
And while that drama plays out, Jamie runs away with her new friend / former brutal bullies. Loomis finally gets to town and immediately enters the police station, and Loomis convinces the sheriff that, yeah, Myers is a threat. And he does this with relative ease. He even issues a whole-ass curfew, and the promise of violence excites a gang of rednecks to grab guns and trucks and run down to the police station. Meanwhile, Loomis and the cops arrive at Jamie's house to find nothing except a dead dog.
Hello.
Now, that usually wouldn't be very upsetting, but Loomis is worried that the dog didn't commit suicide after watching and explaining every single Air Bud movie, but was instead murdered by Michael Myers.
That makes sense.
An interesting theory, but facts don't care about your canine feelings in the same way that the town power plant doesn't care about this electrician's body, except in the sense that his twitching corpse causes it to explode and kill power to the entire town. Sort of like Ben Shapiro's brain after watching a movie about girls' dolls.
This movie is a flaming piece of dog.
You are Johnson!
Oh, okay, here's Jamie. And a pumpkin.
Slutty pumpkin.
She tries to ward off potential attackers by claiming that she's got a huge dog in her pants.
I have a big dog with me and he bites.
But fortunately, before she whips him out, Rachel and the cops find her more or less simultaneously. But of course, they also find like 5 Michael Myers impersonators, and they head back to the police station to find, dang it, Myers already murdered everybody there.
That's not great.
And the sheriff is like,
Wouldn't have given up without a fight.
but I don't know that this guy gave up his arm exactly. I don't think they just succumbed to melancholy or dysentery. I think they were killed.
Well, this is happening.
They decide to barricade themselves at the sheriff's house because, wow, even the cops are trying to work remote these days, shake my head. And appropriately, all the rednecks show up and are like, hey, can we go murder somebody? And the sheriff is like, guys, go home. And they're like, working from home is what's destroying America for the impossibly unethically rich. And separate point, quite literally, all of your cops are dead.
Oh, crap.
Oh, crap.
So they head out to find Myers, and while they shoot the first rustling bushes they find,
I'd do it again in a minute.
which twist do not actually contain Michael. Whoops! Looks like they just first-degree manslaughtered a random person, which comes with the possibility of life in jail.
Get thrown into a cage with a bunch of sweaty men.
Fun! Speaking of fun, here's Brady just getting it. Don't worry, they PG-13 themselves around the female areolas, but that doesn't mean they're not there. I bet she definitely has female areolas.
Oh, I think I'm in heaven.
As it turns out, the girl with definite female areolas is the daughter of the sheriff, because can you really be trusted to lead the Haddonfield police force without being the father of a girl with definite female areolas?
He's gonna skin you alive.
Exactly. Barricade the windows!
Kelly, I want you to close and lock all downstairs windows.
Two Daddy Two Cop hands Brady a gun as if he wasn't already fully cocked, and Brady heads upstairs to suck ass at opening windows. And then everybody, including me and 1988 audiences, sit around for a while waiting for something to happen. Anything, really.
Crickets, crickets, crickets.
Rachel tries to get, something started by pouring coffee all over Cop Daughter's massive knockers, but it doesn't do much.
Have some coffee.
You like coffee? I like coffee too.
Although, should that be scalding hot? I mean the coffee, not the wet breast, Dave. Calm down. And put down the salad dressing. What are you even gonna do with that?
Best part of waking up.
Wet breast. They hail the state troopers on a battery radio, and Loomis leaves this house in case Myers attacks Jamie's regular house, and then Cop Daddy First Blood Part 2 leaves to stop the rednecks from just peacefully exercising their Second Amendment right to shoot any bush that looks like a serial killer. But of course, Michael Myers has been in the house all along, and he's murdered the bonus cop that they left behind, and he stabs Breasty McBresterson with a shotgun, which feels a little like dicing an onion with a baseball bat. And all of this upsets Rachel, who tries and fails to find Jamie, while Brady tries and fails to shoot a hole in the door that's somehow reinforced. And Brady's like, well, I guess we're trapped here forever.
This is it. This is my life now.
I wish somebody had built other holes in this house that were covered with a more breakable and possibly transparent material, but alas.
We're trapped in this house.
Let's run upstairs. They find Jamie pretty immediately, but they also find Myers, who is moving slower than ever.
We're going pretty slow.
Brady tries to shoot him, but first he has to reload what I'm gonna assume is a 16th century musket based on how long it takes. And he also seems to have some sort of adhesive on his shoes that won't allow him to take even a single step away from Myers. He punches Myers, but it doesn't go great. And Myers gives him a squeeze.
And I got the squeeze.
Jamie and Rachel end up in the attic and throw a bunch of shit in Myers' path, but it does almost nothing, so they escape out a household that's covered in, I guess, glass? Huh. They scramble out onto the roof, and Jamie spider monkeys her way onto Rachel's back, and
You better hold on tight, spider monkey.
well, she sort of has a rough time keeping her footing. But thankfully, Myers' footing doesn't seem so great either. Rachel tries to get Jamie to jump or slide down to the chimney, but she's scared. So Rachel demonstrates how safe and easy it is. She then lowers Jamie with a cable or something, but gets herself thrown off the roof. Jamie takes off through the neighborhood screaming like her obnoxious mom did all those years ago, and hey, that means that Lori got married or at least pregnant before she could reasonably have completed college. Nothing wrong with that inherently, it just makes her being dead now not that much of a big deal. I mean, the only people who ever achieve anything are those of us with English degrees from unknown universities, clearly.
You sure about that?
She bumps into Loomis, who suggests they hide in the schoolhouse, so they sneakily shoot open the school lock and trip the alarm. Somehow, Myers still finds them 7 seconds later. But Myers is thwarted when it turns out that Rachel is not only still alive, she's got a big-ass, powerful fire extinguisher.
I did not expect that.
She pulls Jamie literally from his arms because his weakness is dry chemical foam or powder, typically made of sodium bicarbonate, normal baking soda, or potassium bicarbonate, which is nearly identical to baking soda, or monoammonium phosphate. I think we just learned something.
Yeah, I think we did.
You sure about that?
The rednecks show up and they all flee the town together, but of course they don't get far because Myers has somehow been riding on the underside of the truck for the past 30 miles, just like Indiana Jones, and he kills everybody, forcing Rachel to take the wheel. Kind of like, well...
Jesus ain't got nothing to do with this.
Damn it! Rachel and Myers each race to throw him off the roof and rip her shirt off, respectively, but unfortunately Rachel wins, which I guess means I lose.
You got them titties popping out.
Rachel runs him over with a truck, and the cops show up and they shoot Myers like 12,000 times. But not before Jamie touches Myers' hand, which I have been advised to not do. And Myers falls in like a well or like a sinkhole or something, so Loomis declares him buried in hell, and like, okay.
Michael Myers is in hell.
You sure about that?
Judgmental much? Only God knows a man's heart, my guy. They're taken back to their house, and in all the excitement, nobody ever mentions if the parents landed the account. Are they rich now or not?
I almost forgot about that.
I'm sorry I ruined everything.
I guess that they're not rich, because while Jamie's mom runs a bath, Jamie stabs her a bunch because she has apparently caught those Celtic serial killer herpes. And Loomis is not thrilled by this development.
Hey, what's wrong, Sonny?
Dave? Are you still able to talk? Yeah, okay, good.
Mikey and I like it in the car.
We open with some slashes and stuff over the opening credits, and maybe somebody's shaving. Oh no, that's ridiculous. Obviously somebody is murdering a pumpkin. I remember murdering my first pumpkin. That's like the boy equivalent of popping your cherry, right, Dave? Dave?
My dad are raw.
Well, if I was trying to murder my pumpkin, now would be a great time. Because we're watching the end of the last movie. That's the perfect time to whip out my blade and get at her pumpkin. I think I was wrong about this metaphor.
And just like that, I was falling head over heels for the slutty pumpkin.
And yet pumpkins are full of icky, gooey stuff and seeds, so I think there's something there. And anyway, fairly quickly, we get to see what happened to Myers down in his hidey hole. He obviously didn't die, even when they dropped standard police-issued dynamite on him. That I guess was in the back of the car.
Policing in this country.
He celebrates his invincibility with a little swim bath down some rapids. And he gets out at like a fishing camp? Is that a thing? Maybe it's a shanty town of one? Whatever. Myers greets the lone occupant in the traditional psycho serial killer way, but he's too weak. And he passes out for a year because now it's Halloween Eve 1989.
I can make the bad guys good for a weekend.
What do you know? It's raining again. Man, it rains every year here on Halloween Eve. Like, what is this, Narnia? Always Halloween, but never not raining? Turkish delight?
You look so cool.
Myers finally gets up the courage to finally finish greeting his fisherman lover, but like, what the hell have they been doing for the past year? Did they share any lovely chats? Catch any large carp? Dance any nights away?
Bad luck to kill a seal.
How does Michael always know when it's Halloween? Is there a calendar here? I don't know. But here's Jamie sleeping badly and also talking badly. We learn through the helpful and expositionally inclined nurse that Jamie's mom actually did die from all the stabs, and also it's okay because this? We're just having another
nasty old dream.
Or is it? See, Jamie's hands are, I guess, synced with Myers, which probably explains all those obscene hand motions she's been making for the past year. It's like every time the doctor came in, she was like, and he's like, kids these days. But actually, that was Myers pleasuring the fisherman, I assume. It was this big.
You know what I'm thinking. I'm in your brain. I know. And let's go fishing.
And yeah, she confirms my suspicions with a little note on her little board. Gross, Michael. Keep it in your fishing pants, in your waders.
I'd luck to kill a seabird.
But Jamie's not done yet, and she sees it's pretty hardcore, but it's fine because Loomis is there and he's like, she'll be fine.
She will stabilize.
And he's not wrong. So the next day, hey look, Rachel hangs out with Jamie. Guess the stabbing mom thing was forgiven when it turns out that she wasn't fully dead. As long as my mom can still slurp Shake Shack through it too, we can still be best buds.
Please don't cry. Shake Shack saves the day.
Speaking of best buds, another mutual bud named Tina sneaks a mutual dog bud named something probably through the window. And there's much girly giggling until real life explodes through the window. Somebody wrote that the evil child must die anonymously, but it's gotta be Rachel's mom, right? Like obviously somebody's a sore stab victim. It's like my grandma always used to say, if you can't handle being stabbed, don't get stabbed, and also don't throw a brick through a window. She was very wise.
Yeah. That's what grannies are for.
No! And the brick has really killed the mood, so Rachel heads home to prepare for a party. She flounces around the house doing everything to almost, but not quite, show a female areola. But the series has gotten surprisingly coy and coquettish after the second movie. Myers still seems into it though. Jamie, always the buzzkill, thinks Rachel's about to be murdered because she's got a feeling.
I got a feeling.
So Loomis calls Rachel and tells her to
Get out of the house quickly now, go on.
and she does, providing her neighbor with like a year's worth of fat material. He should be good until rainy Halloween 1990. Also, they call the cops, and man, this music is disrespectful. Cops should be coming into something that is more befitting of their station, like Nickelback. They find nothing, but what the hell is Myers waiting for? He's all over this house but won't pull the proverbial knife trigger. Maybe he's actually waiting for Rachel to leave so he can like watch Nickelodeon for once. He's been in that fisherman's hole forever. I doubt that Fisher Boy had cable. Oh no, he is just here for the stabbing. Jamie fully flips out, possibly because she's also not getting to watch Nickelodeon, and Loomis flat runs straight to the cops. Does he flat run or does he just flat runs? I don't know. We're gonna overlay the clip right now and you can make your own decision. I don't remember.
Have you forgotten?
Jamie has to pee or something, so she also takes off. But it turns out that Myers is outside, so she just generally runs around, and why isn't anybody watching her? She has insane seizures every 5 minutes. Remember that time she stabbed some mommy?
Have you forgotten?
No!
Your reign of terror has come to an end.
Feels like they could at least set up a baby monitor, but no. She runs through trippy ass laundry before ending up in a boiler room, which means that Freddy is definitely gonna be jealous.
We'll see, bitch.
And hey, speaking of, she's found by a janitor. She goes upstairs and Loomis gets real aggressive with her in the hopes that she'll give him information on Myers, but she won't because why? Girls are so hard to understand. Isn't that right, Billy?
Jamie, are you okay?
I think I just found her thumbnail. A frustrated Loomis heads to the Myers house to see if Myers is maybe hiding in Chekhov's laundry chute, but he isn't. Although there is some dude wearing boots who actually has the same tattoo as Myers. That's actually the first legitimately interesting thing that's been introduced in quite a while. I hope we won't know almost exactly as much as we don't know right now by the end of this movie. Back at dead Rachel's house, Tina shows up with chips and also flounces around the house, even lying on the bed in the room where Rachel was stabbed like 5 minutes ago. There's no blood, which either means that Myers brought along Clorox or Rachel's sweater is surprisingly absorbent.
Sarah? Sarah?
Another blonder girl shows up. Because neither of them can find Rachel, they assume that she went with her parents to the country for the weekend, even though you and I, audience, know that the parents are probably already at their secret annual Halloween sex party. I don't know if it's in the country, but I do know it's in the butt. The girls, for their part, plan to have sex in Rachel's empty house and also a car. In both instances, they're hoping to rub their butts on
Satin.
And speaking of car sex, meet Michael. He seems great. You can already tell by his name, there's gonna be some confusion between him and Shrek, voiced by Michael Myers.
But you, baby, I could be.
They visit the hottest, coolest, definitely not a middle-aged man pretending to be a grocer this side of Wegmans, and he's dating the blonde girl because he's blonde, and that's how dating works. And Michael pulls around behind the grocery store to get some alcohol, but Shrek shows up. Oh my God, I just did it. It's so confusing, all these Michaels.
Do I make you Randy? Yeah.
And scratches his car and then chokes Michael and then impales his head, which are the three worst things that can happen to somebody who owns a nice car and doesn't want to get choked or impaled in the head. Then Mike becomes Mike by putting on his mask and picking up his now much sluttier girlfriend. It's not a judgment, by the way. It's just the way that Dave refers to women. And he's the only one here, and I feel like I'm being judged by him for not being dressed more slutty. I'm being peer pressured. That's the scariest thing about these videos. Dave's always telling me, be sluttier, be sluttier. And I'm like, oh, this
probably get more views.
I've waded through a sweaty parade of Big Lebowski's, Harry Potter's.
Jamie participates in a goblin costume pageant, except when it's introduced, the guy just says it's a costume pageant. In fact, Jamie looks nothing like a goblin, which seems to imply that the children themselves are goblins having a costume pageant, which seems like a shitty thing to call the kids in your psych ward. But I guess what else do you call a kid that stabs moms? A little angel? No, they're a goblin. And if you're Dave, you probably call them a slutty goblin.
Oh, you little monsters.
And the slutty goblin passes out and grunts the store where Myers and his new girlfriend are. She can barely speak, and also can't think of a classy way to say the gas station with the massive tits. But one of the pervier cops immediately knows what they mean.
Dale's gas station, 5th and Main.
I know where that is.
They go grab Tina before Myers can kill her, even though he has had like a ton of opportunities to kill her. She apparently never notices that the filthy man who hasn't bathed in a year wasn't her effete greaser boyfriend.
I just love barbaric men.
Yeah. Michael is quite patient in this movie, and I guess that means he's growing. Good for him. Tina's boobs somehow cure Jamie's throat.
You might not understand, but...
And Tina leaves to share her gift with the world despite Loomis propositioning her.
Why don't you stay the night?
Cops give her a ride to an underage party because by this point, all the good cops in town have been butchered. We're down to like 4th string here. For example, I like surprising you with these burps. It's amazing how many get you still.
I know, because you were just like, for example.
Like two and a half years into this kind of stuff.
Sorry.
For example, the kids fake a Myers attack and the cops don't just shoot everybody on sight. That's what a real cop would do. But they don't. So the kids go play with kittens in the barn and scare each other for a long time. Boom! Finally, Tina leaves because she hates pussies.
I hate cats.
And the blondes bone. Safely. But not too safely because they're pitchforked and scythed. Tina decides maybe she does like pussy and she comes back, but she finds a bloody one just lying in the hay. And also the bodies of her friends, and also the cops are dead, but it's fine because Jamie and Billy snuck out of their goblin party and are now at this party so that they can help stop Twisted Metal Myers. Good luck, 9-year-olds or 11-year-olds or whatever you are. Like, what are you gonna do?
Let not the flesh pollute the corn.
Well, Billy's plan doesn't pan out. But Jamie's does. Except no, it doesn't. Tina sacrifices herself to save Jamie, or maybe she's hoping that her magic breasts still have a little juice left in them. But alas, juice free. Loomis and cops find the kids, and Loomis bitchily is like,
now, are you willing to help me?
And Jamie is like, okay, sure. And he's like, great. My plan is to lure him back to his old house and have you brushing your hair in the window, just like Playboy Magazine's Playmate of the Month for the June 1974 issue, which is very upsetting. That's who played the naked 15-year-old in the first movie. Just in case you were gonna Google it later.
Yeah.
Thankfully, she's got a creepy dad cop hiding in the back of the room who reminds her that she better not fart.
You do that good and loud, I'll be out here in a flash.
He also gets all up on her, which is odd.
Joey.
We learn that Myers attacked Billy in the clinic off screen, so the vast majority of the cops leave to go deal with that, and Loomis says what people always say when they finally find Michael's erogenous zone.
Now you'll come, won't you, Michael?
The creepy dad cop intends to take Jamie to the police station where she'll be safe because Myers has never killed everybody in a police station before, but Loomis locks the door and smashes the cop's radio. He also pulls a gun on the cop because I guess he has a plan to wander around the house armed with only his pistol? Smart. That's Myers' second biggest weakness behind fire extinguishers. And yeah, Michael does show up and he stands still for 20 minutes until Loomis finally reveals the whole thrust of his plan.
Don't you remember how much better you used to be?
No, I can't hear you.
He's gonna logic Michael to death like Ben Shapiro trying to explain why climate change is no biggie.
Sell their houses to who, Ben?
Loomis is like, I know you've got a lot of rage, Michael, but you used to be rage-free, theoretically, like maybe when you were 2, because you murdered at 6, so there wasn't a big window of you being rage-free.
Am I the Hulk's baby?
And you're only trying to murder things to get rid of that rage, but for some reason that's not working, so what you need to do is hang out with Jamie. She can fix your rage. She can make it all go away. And Michael's like, you know, Doc, the idea that a woman could cure a man's mental illness just reeks of patriarchy. Is transforming her to an object of utility instead of a person with thoughts and feelings. Or, as Michael actually puts it in the movie, flash! The cop tries to escape out the window but gets well hung instead.
Sheet base! Sheet base!
And Jamie runs to hide in Chekhov's aforementioned laundry chute, but that doesn't work out so great, so she falls. And Myers heads downstairs and he starts stabbing. And if there was ever a moment to channel your inner Morpheus, Jamie, this would be it. Instead, she channels her inner, like Sam Fisher, and splinter cells her way back to the top and ends up in a weird shrine with a bunch of bodies and an open novelty casket that she just climbs into, I guess to save money on funeral arrangements because she has given up. And Myers shows up and Jamie literally cries, Uncle, which makes him stop. And she's like, take off your mask. And he does. And she's like, you're just like me. And he single tears like a Native American on Earth Day.
People can stop it.
And I'm like, wow, she's really keeping America beautiful, huh? But then Myers snaps out of it and starts wildly stabbing again. Very much the opposite of what Earth Day is about. Loomis shows back up. And you know, we focus a lot on how invincible Myers is, but Loomis has survived the same explosion and has also been stabbed like 15 times. I'm just saying that somebody should probably give him a serial killer Celtic herpes test just to make sure that he doesn't, you know, catch it at some point.
My little green friend.
And speaking of catching, Loomis home alones Myers' ass into a net and lights his ass up with tranquilizer darts. And then he just like beats the shit out of Myers with a piece of wood, which can't possibly do any damage, but is certainly, you know, like offering some sort of punching a pillow-esque catharsis. And then once Myers passes out, Loomis tries to hump him. Which again, probably won't cause any damage, but will provide an unbelievable catharsis. They throw Myers in jail, and they're like, he'll never get out of jail. Except then that Boots guy from earlier walks up, and he sets off a bomb, and he kills all the cops, and he frees Michael Myers. Reverb, no!
Check out this room, dude.
Oh, nice.
It makes me fertile.
Wait, what?
Enough. It is Michael Myers.
Okay, first of all, buckle up. I apparently watched the producer's cut. There are differences from the original, but also, I don't care. Just know that this is a slightly different movie from the one that everybody saw in theaters, but also, apparently, it's the preferred version, generally speaking. Alrighty, so let's fast forward 6 years to pre-ween 1995. There's a screaming woman upside down on a gurney in the world's shittiest looking hospital.
This hospital sucks.
Oh, never mind. It's the world's shittiest looking cult temple, and she's straight giving birth. I hope she has good insurance. Does Optima cover cult temples? Just kidding. Nobody in America covers anything. Have your baby wherever you want. It's still $50,000. America sucks! Boots is there, though we still can't see his face.
Oh, right.
And he swipes the underinsured baby.
Oh, man.
And Loomis expositorily voices over while they draw a weird-ass symbol on the baby. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of raw baby dick. I know that sounds good to you, Dave, but I don't like it. I don't know why I have to watch a movie with a whole-ass baby dick in it. I find it off-putting.
That's my little baby penis. I'm sure if you were to cut them all out, you'd have a room full of little cutouts of baby penises.
And suddenly, Halloween was another word for
baby penis.
Oh, and apparently Myers was declared legally dead way back when, even though he clearly escaped. Jamie is also believed to have exploded in the same explosion, and I guess whatever fifth string cops they brought in to inspect the crime scene couldn't find evidence of their body bits and decided that I guess they fully exploded.
What the hell happened here?
Nothing, I guess.
But no, he's not dead, and Jamie is actually now this woman, and a kindly cult nurse helps her and the baby escape, while she herself helps paint this spike on the wall with her blood.
Look at there.
Truly, she had a servant's heart. Oh my God, it's raining again? We're what, like 5 for 5 now? Climate change much, am I right?
You have to see an inconvenient truth.
Jamie steals a truck because the owner doesn't really need it, and drives to an empty bus station and calls into a shock jock radio station in the hopes of attracting the attention of Dr. Loomis, who, by the way, is looking great. He's grown a beard and gotten hand-wavy plastic surgery.
Skin grafts.
And he's retired.
Not dead.
He's visited by the guy in charge of Smith's Grove Sanitarium, who we last saw in the first movie, telling Loomis that Myers was bad at driving.
Now, for God's sakes, he can't drive a car. He was doing very well last night.
Bitch.
And he's like, my guy, I'm retiring too, and I want you to take my job, which makes no sense. It's tough to bring somebody out of retirement for one last job when you yourself are actively entering retirement. Though I do love the idea of an Ocean's 11 movie where they recruit the team for 45 minutes and then George Clooney is like, but also I don't want to do this. It sounds very dangerous. I actually got a great job at an accounting firm.
Oh, what the hell? Live dangerously, huh?
But anyway, Loomis hears Jamie's radio plea and he grabs his trusty, utterly worthless pistol, hits the road. Jamie gets haunted by Myers in what I can only assume is a unisex Target bathroom. And like, we tried to warn them, but thankfully she escapes for 2 seconds. She crashes into some pumpkins, which is actually how I lost my virginity.
Did you f that pumpkin?
So the metaphor does make sense, and then Myers stabs Jamie, even though she says that he can't have the baby, and in fact, the baby ain't there. Elsewhere, a boy named Danny is approached by the bootsman and told to
kill for him.
And he's like, Mom, it's happening. His mom comes in and says a counter incantation.
Stay away, monsters. Stay away, ghouls. Stay away from Danny. You jerks know the rules.
But she does notice that her kid has drawn the weird symbol, which is weird. The radio that I guess everybody in this town listens to in the literal middle of the night mentions that Haddonfield has
banned Halloween since 1989.
So it's like Footloose, but worse because no slutty witch outfits. This stresses Mom out. So she just gets real milfy in the mirror, much to the enjoyment of an across-the-street Paul Rudd making his cinematic debut. What a meaty role, an engorged gig, a thick performance.
Hey, look at us.
She closes the blinds, much to his horny dismay, and he calls into the famous radio station to be like, hey, I'm the original Tommy kid from Halloween 1, and I'm pretty weird now.
Leave me alone.
And I'm really hopeful that I can kill Michael Myers if/when he comes back. And oh look, it's me.
Enough is Michael Myers.
Actually, it's Hot Mommy's daddy, because she's back living at home as she attempts to go to college and put her life back together after having the baby way too early. She and her son Danny live with her shit dad, her mousy mom, and her chill-ass brother who makes the hellest most radical smoothies. Her dad is not a fan of his daughter having moved back home, and Danny threatens him with a steak knife after some encouragement from, again, the imaginary bootsman.
Give me the knife, Danny.
Wussy can't finish the job, though, so everybody, including Bro's girlfriend, heads off to school like, ha, that was so wacky.
Tonight's the night we bring some life back into this town.
Mornings at the Strodes are crazy because, yes, this is Laurie's uncle's family.
My name. My real name.
It's Dwayne Johnson.
Keep on. Really, nothing upsets her mommy at all until, oh no, she drops all her shit.
Works prima.
Also, Halloween is banned, but not Halloween decorations, or Halloween costumes, or trick-or-treating. Like, what part's illegal exactly? The murder part? That's illegal every day, except Purge Day, of course. And yes, I'll do those movies as soon as we learn they're ever gonna make another one or not. There's a plan here. You think I don't have a plan?
Give me the knife, Danny.
Loomis and his best bud head to the sanatorium? Sanitarium.
It's both. Sanatorium, also sanitarium, or sanatorium.
Loomis and his best bud head to the sanatorium and learn of Myers' return and of Jamie's stabbing, and the other guy's like,
I plan to bring him back alive.
And first, it's weird that Loomis doesn't like object. And second, it's not like anybody can kill Myers anyway. Alive is your only option, seemingly. They head to the barn to find that weird symbol burned into some hay, and Jamie stabbed but not dead, which is weird because she's definitely had sex. Like, the proof is in the pudding. Who this pumpkin?
Only God can help her now.
Sex haverds are supposed to die in slashers. Weirdly, the doctors apparently don't pull out the butcher's knife until the operating room.
Stab!
And also, she flashes back to pretty much definitely Myers impregnating her, which I think is wrong. Also, she gets shot in the head.
The work is done now, Jamie.
There we go. Elsewhere, Tommy listens to an extremely erotic, sexy audio tape.
They're coming, they're coming.
Yeah, so they're coming.
And investigates the bus station he assumes that Jamie was at. While there, he follows a suspicious blood trail into the women's bathroom. Pretty convenient. But once inside, he finds a baby, which is super inconvenient. Sign up for my Patreon. I have 3 inconvenient babies that I love dearly. The inconvenience of children is probably the reason nobody has heard the baby before now. Like, scores of women are just like shitting with their fingers in their ears, like, la la la, I don't hear any babies. Just me and last night's horse meat quesadilla in here. How did nobody hear an infant for hours and hours in the bathroom? Nothing's happening.
Don't want to deal with that shit.
Tommy takes the baby to the hospital but can't get any help.
Get me a doctor now!
This hospital sucks.
Though he does run into Loomis briefly, which is a sweet little reunion.
Yeah.
Hey. So Tommy takes the baby home and like, how's he gonna feed it? It's a newborn, dude. You can't just give it a bag of Skittles. Believe me, I've tried. Join my Patreon. My kids are so hungry. They hate the new green apple flavor.
I hope whoever came up with that idea was like executed unsafely.
Butchered by Michael Myers. That's actually what his whole rampage is based on. You think it's that he hates Lori, but Lori's the one who came up with the flavor.
Rile the rainbow. Taste the rainbow.
Oh, hey, as it turns out, the Strodes live in the Myers' old house because, you know, it was sort of tough to sell to somebody else, what with all the murders that have happened in it. And Loomis breaks in to warn Mother Strode, and man, his monologues are so weird and non-specific.
It grew inside him.
She now wants to leave, but A, her husband is a real dick about it, and B, her laundry machine is haunted. Oh, and C, Michael Myers has stabbed her to death. I've noticed it's very difficult to secure a ticket on American Airlines if you're dead.
That motherfucker back there is not real.
Myers again has cleaned up real nice, and when Milfy Mommy gets home, she can't find her mom.
Mom?
But she can find Tommy and Danny and a random ass baby upstairs. They've all bonded over their mutual love of dinosaurs, I guess.
Tommy's my new friend, and he knows all about dinosaurs. I guess so.
And Tommy's like, you guys should come over to my house across the street. And it apparently takes them 5 hours to get there because when they arrive, there's a freaking full moon out somehow.
M-O-O-N.
Tommy fails to feed the baby a bottle, but Milfy Mommy gives the baby love, which is apparently just as good as food. And Tommy explains the central premise of the film, which is...
symbols.
Okay. So there are these runes, right, that Irish druids used to think meant things, and this thorn one in particular is especially bad. Back in the day, tribes would pick a kid to be inflicted with the thorn rune, and then they'd kill them, sparing everybody else, meaning that Myers wants to kill his family because I guess they inflicted him, in his mind, with the rune of thorn, though if he does kill them, his powers will transfer to another kid, and Myers will be able to die. And also, unfortunately, Myers is an idiot and thinks that anybody living in his house is his family, but really he just needs to kill that baby there and it'll be over. And oh, by the way, Thorn is also a constellation of stars that only appears on the Halloweens when Myers murders people, and I guess it also maybe brings rain. And anyway, that was the elevator pitch for this movie, apparently.
Give me the knife, Danny.
I don't understand, if inflicting you with the rune makes you invincible, how did they kill the kids? Because the whole thing is like he's gonna kill his family, which will free him of the rune and make him no longer invincible.
So I almost never fact check these things, but this was confounding to me, and I thought that surely there was like a real answer to this question. And as it turns out, back in the day, they were really afraid of mass casualty events, so to thwart that, they would take the rune or whatever and they would curse a kid, and then on Halloween that kid, who is now invincible, would have to murder his whole family, which would in turn appease Sam Hain, which is either a god or a force or a whatever, and then they would become not invincible anymore, and in exchange, they would not die of mass casualty events. And also, this happens only when the Thorn constellation is in the sky. And I guess this is what Michael Myers has been doing for the past 5 movies in their mind, is trying to kill his family. But unfortunately, he is an idiot and doesn't know who his family is, so it's taken him a while, okay? He's been working on it. It's just taken decades because he doesn't know what he's doing. Also, I'm not sure how he got cursed in the first place. Like, are his parents druids?
Anyway, that exposited, Tommy leaves to find Loomis for some reason, and look at this, not a cell phone in sight. Okay, apparently at least some of the very clear Halloween celebrating can be blamed on the specific festival being a protest of the Halloween ban. Think of it as having a dance off so powerful that dancing becomes legal again. The festival is emceed by the shock jock from the intro, who is a total dweeb. Hello! But maybe I'm being unfair. All he's trying to do is
channel the spirit of that pussy.
Are you ready? I mean, you can't fault a man for that. He learns Bro lives in the old Myers house and decides to do the rest of his live broadcast from there, but Myers says no thank you. Then he's stuffed into a tree and bleeds all over the stupidest kid on the planet.
Mommy, it's raining. It's warm.
She thinks it's raining warm red rain? Has that ever happened before, kid? Come on now. Tommy and Loomis do get another meet cute, though.
Dr. Loomis. Huh? Who would have thought? Not me.
Oh, by the way, Dickhead Dad also went home only to find a haunted laundry machine and also a combination electrocution stab that was apparently way more hardcore in the theatrical version. Later, Bro and his girlfriend show up intending to meet with Shock Jock, but when he doesn't show up, they introduce their private parts to each other after first setting up and lighting like 10,000 candles, which conservatively would take like 5 hours. I guess they're not worried about either of their parents or his sister's kid, or again, the Shock Jock showing up at some point. Because this ain't a quickie, it's a slowie. What's more, before they actually touch their parts, the dude pauses for a pre-sex shower, because this is the most tantric of horror sex scenes.
Allegedly, he practices tantric sex.
But anyway, they get his and hers murdered, and I guess nudity is back on the menu, boys.
What about name? Hey, Frank.
Mommy rear windows these events from her perch across the street and also sees Danny sneak out and head to the murder house, so she follows and grabs a poker, which turns out to be great for clobbering big goobers down the stairs. She and Danny run back across the street to join up with Tommy and Loomis, only to find that, whoops, the old lady who lives there and also Loomis's doctor friend and several others are all part of the same cult.
A religion, not a cult.
Hey, you think this is the same sex cult that all the parents have been sneaking off to throughout this timeline's movies? Let's say yes. In fact, Loomis's doctor, Dr. Wynn, is actually the bootsman himself. Mommy makes a quick decision and, well, she f***s off out a window. And it doesn't go great. It's like even if she escaped, her son's still in there.
Where's Mom?
She comes to on the same sex cult table that they have in the back room of every Arby's.
Eating Arby's, eating Arby's, eating Arby's, eating Arby's.
Boom! And Loomis and Tommy come to, and I guess they realize that the cult wants them alive for some reason. They didn't even take them, they just left them in the grass. So they head to the sanitarium to try and free Mommy and Danny and Baby. Tommy realizes that there are other runes, obviously, and if they just picked one of the light ones, they could cancel out the Thorn's power.
I think Michael is under the influence of an evil rune.
What's a rune?
Thorn.
Okay, all right, I got ya.
Make Michael vulnerable. So they should do that, I guess.
Including de-runing.
They split up and Loomis runs into Wynn, who's like, no, I was serious about you taking over my job, but my job is like a cult leader. So can you? Knockdown. Tommy ends up in the sex cult temple ward where they try to convince Michael to kill the baby and then Danny to kill his mom so that he could start his own spree.
Your journey begins.
And that way, Danny can become a new serial killer. For, again, I don't know why. I guess we're a cult. We gotta have beliefs, but what does that do for anyone? But Mommy is like, whoa, dude, that baby's yours though, right?
Isn't it, Michael?
Myers? Incest much? Somebody watch too much Game of Thrones?
Sticking with the point.
Gross. But also, real quick, if Myers hadn't had sex with Jamie, Jamie and he had just murdered her, wouldn't he have finished his spree like 6 years ago? What took him so long? What has he been doing for 6 years? Trying to get her pregnant? He's got slow swimmers. That's why he walks so slow. Oh my God. I've always said that fast walkers must have fast jizz. You could have just killed her and then you would have lost your evil powers and your rage or whatever, and then you could have hopped on Bumble or something, my guy. I mean, you're still pretty young. Tommy sneaks in and frees everybody and also stops Myers dead in his tracks with some rune bullshit.
Including de-runing.
And everybody escapes, except then Loomis decides to go back in because maybe he dropped something? I don't know. But he finds Myers lying on the ground, except actually it's not Myers, it's Wynn. And Myers has stolen his sexy outfit and the weird mark appears on Loomis' arm somehow because something rune magic curse. And also after this movie he died IRL, which is major commitment to the role. And as always, he is not thrilled by any of these developments. Okay, this isn't really getting us any closer to understanding, Dave. That's what I've been saying. Let's do this. Let's take your first 2 movie descriptions, keep those, but then throw out the next 3, and then keep going, but film it on the green screen like you did in the Marvel video, even though I know you filmed it on a blue screen. So let's invert that. What? Oh, yeah. This is gonna crack Dave wide open. Ah, me. Okay, so actually 4 through 6 never happened, okay? Just erase them from your mind.
Done.
I already have using the power of love, of alcohol. Is it because I'm drinking Natty Light at 9 a.m.? And okay, here's Mr. Sandman again, and yet another pumpkin. New timeline, same old attempts to arouse Dave.
What's the pumpkin for?
But we won't let them, right, big guy? That titanium crotch locket's still holding strong?
That's going to chafe my willy.
Great. This time we're in Langdon, Illinois. And it's October 29th, 1998, and Myers hasn't been seen since that time that he exploded in the hospital 20 years ago.
Where'd he go?
Because nothing ever happened with him after that, okay? No Jamie, no runes, no Ant-Man, no bullshit. Got it? The smoking nurse from the first 2 movies walks to her house only to realize it's been broken into. And rather than get murdered, she enlists the help of Joseph Gordon-Levitt wearing a Jason mask.
Oh, hey.
He calls the police, but also heads into the house himself because, as he claims,
Jimmy been suspended 5 times this year already for getting a little crazy with this.
My guy, if those are violent crimes, then you should be in juvie. Pretty sure they don't let you get suspended 5 times in a single year for hockey stick crimes without an expulsion.
I'd be worried that Cadry's gonna be gone on this one.
Unless, of course, he's been using the hockey stick to fight the Foot Clan.
Well, that was a crime, you curse-scrubbing pukes.
Anyway, JGL notices the office has been ransacked, and he steals some beer as payment for his hockey stick services, and he also beats the shit out of some pans, just as a precaution.
Sure showed him.
He ultimately finds nothing, so the nurse heads inside to realize the power is dead, and oh hey, here's a picture of Loomis. No! Somebody stole our information on Laurie Strode.
I'm pissed off.
No! The nurse runs back to her high school hero's house only to find that he's apparently slipped and fallen completely face first on an ice skate.
Jimmy!
He dead! Slippin' Jimmy.
And oh yeah, right, he had a friend, but that guy's dead too, because solidarity, respect.
You die, I die.
Dave, if you die, I would also pretend to die, for sure. Oh, now the cops show up. They notice that she broke a window, but it's too late. Somebody mentions that she was Loomis's personal nurse in his final years, and apparently the 2 of them were just like real weird about Myers. Like, obsessed much? We have to spend the entire credits poring over your weird kink? Also, what's this bullshit about Halloween mass murders happening in 1968? Come on now, lazy-ass movie. It also says that Laurie died, but I'm pretty sure that she didn't, considering she's alive right here. And just screaming her little ass off.
Calm down.
Also, if you want to be fully correct, this movie's official title isn't Halloween H2O, it's Halloween the Way of Water.
But yes, she's still alive, and her son Josh Hartnett, in his cinematic debut, comes in the room and is like, chill out, Mommy. You need some drugs, Mommy. I could do that for you, Mommy baby.
Mom!
Gross.
And hey, now it's Halloween Day itself, but we're in Summer Glen, California, and no, there's no Mr. Laurie Strode in the picture, other than this 2-month late birthday card that he just sent his son.
Birthday card.
It's only 2 months late.
And Josh, whose character name is John, wants to camp in Yosemite with the rest of his affluent classmates, but his mom says no, because I guess she's scared that he'll be attacked by Yosemite Sam.
Ouch.
And it's like, dang it, Mommy, I'm a full-grown boy. I can handle one short, red-haired Republican. But she says, tough nuts, I'm the headmistress of this school, and you'll address me as Miss Tate, since that's my secret new identity, and it's respectful.
That's it. Have a good time.
The structure of the school is piss poor. Like, what the hell is going on here? Look at this confused old man wandering in the grass. There's just no flow. But oh hey, Josh is dating Michelle Williams in the only movie I'm aware that she's done besides Venom.
Are you drunk?
And also Venom Let There Be Carnage.
I don't know why you're shouting at me.
And also the untitled Venom Let There Be Carnage sequel.
Some people long for a life that is...
Let's stop the movie briefly to let Meyer steal a 1956 International Harvester travelogue. Because yes, this very modern woman and her daughter apparently took an afternoon drive in a 42-year-old Johnny One-Eyed getaway truck.
Come and get me, Captain!
Just what the hell is going on here? Are they time-traveling gangsters? Is she Jay Leno's wife? Also, this is what you get for going into the boys' room.
The boys are just gonna have to deal with it.
Sorry, I don't make the laws. God does. Hey, let's briefly recap my childhood.
No booze, no drugs, no kidding.
No fun.
Also, because his mom canceled his trip to Sam's Town, all of John's friends also find excuses to get canceled.
I would rather have my eyes pierced.
Which is actually pretty easy to do these days, according to criminals.
I recycle and I masturbate.
Laurie is hooking up with her guidance counselor, which is every Dave's fantasy. And speaking of erotic fantasies, the gate guard wants to be an erotic novelist.
The two tumultuous, round, melon breasts.
Ugh, man, I wish I could write like that. Everything I write sounds like,
Fuck me.
John wishes the guard would let him leave so that he could buy his girlfriend a present. But the guard says,
No.
But then he says yes.
Don't you do me wrong, okay?
Okay. This is what we in the professional erotic writing biz call a character arc. But little does Josh know that in town his mom is having an extremely sad lunch with a guidance counselor and drinking heavily. Probably pre-gaming for a new faculty-centric version of the Halloween parent sex.
What the
Watch your profanity.
Sorry.
Sorry for what?
John and his friends shoplift alcohol and just run into his mom, and she's pissed, alcohol-wise, but also emotionally.
What do you think you can do? Just...
But also he is pissed.
I'm really uncomfortable with you saying that.
Well, only emotionally, but hoping for alcohol-wise later.
I say, sir, you seem to be peeing upon my leg.
Huh? And they drive back to the school together, mutually pissed. A golden shower of anger.
I happen to know that the child enjoys golden showers.
I'm really uncomfortable.
When they get to the gate, John, ever the gentleman, gets out of the car to go grab the security guard for some reason.
Let me.
Laurie's also pissed at him.
Eyes up, Ronnie.
He pissed himself.
To smooth things over, though, Laurie says John can go to Sam's Town.
It's permission slip.
But he's already made plans to get at that puss, so... Speaking of, he dumbwaiters some flowers and a Marauder's map to his girlfriend, which she follows to a set-up date spot, and he's like...
Do I get points or what?
Which is a great way to get 0 points, but then again, who could deduct points from a boy who makes such silly faces?
Guys.
Look at those faces. Oh, giggle. Anyway, Myers finally shows up.
Oh, it's him!
And doesn't do much. Just sort of tricks his way inside and pops up randomly in the guard guy's windows, and he's just milking his experience.
You're milking it, don't milk it.
Speaking of milking, Mr. Guidance asks Laurie what Hitler used to say to Poland.
I want to invade every part of your being.
I can hack you back in time to Nazi Germany.
It's okay! The Polish writer who helps punch up these scripts said the joke was cool. Well, he actually just said, nothing, and he sighed heavily and he stared off into the horizon. But I think that's a yes.
He's a kung fu renegade cop.
She's like, sure. And he's like, okay, first, let me go check on the two girls real quick so that we can see this movie's direct reference in Scream 2. Watch my previous video. And also, he's like, hey, I'm gonna let them make a date rape joke.
Let's have a whole date rape evening.
But I'll counter it with a nipple piercing joke.
I'm having my nipples pierced.
Then he grabs a pumpkin for God knows what horrible things that they're gonna do to each other with that thick gourd. Before they can really squash each other's private parts, because yes, pumpkins are also technically squashes, Lori straight up reveals that yeah, she faked her own death a long time ago, and he's like, well, okay, let me suck a dabooby. And she's like, no, I'm serious, dude, I'm Laurie Strode, and my whole family is dead except the serial killer part of my family. And he's like, this foreplay is getting real dark, but sure, like me on dabooba.
That's sucky.
Finally, he believes her, and she's like, ah, crap. It's my son's 17th birthday, and I was 17 when Myers attacked the first time.
17.
I'm pubescent!
Connection, and she realizes that John is probably still on grounds, and she grabs a gun and also realizes that the phones are out. And the guy is still confused, but he's still totally willing to work with wherever this weird sex fantasy is headed, as long as he can suck a dabooba. Elsewhere, the kids steal a bunch of food and ponder whether they like chubbies.
I hope you don't mind if I get really big and dumpy.
Mama, wake up!
They evidently light every candle in California for a hot double date.
Let me show you something.
And Charlie leaves to get a corkscrew up the dumbwaiter, but gets killed by Myers and dumbweighted back down to his girlfriend, who at first is like,
No sex games till I've eaten.
but then is like, and Myers is there too at this point, so she climbs into the dumbwaiter herself but gets stabbed in the leg pumpkin. In the leg pumpkin.
This is the most chaotic script I've heard in a while.
Yeah, sorry.
What are you talking about?
Only to almost instantly get her whole leg brutally dumbwaiter crushed before just getting stabbed a lot.
He's hitting me in the butt! He's hitting my butt!
The other two set the mood by listening to a Creed song about suicide. They immediately get tired of that and follow a blood trail to find, yeah, the other girl strung up on a hanging light or whatever. Myers attacks them, but the two fight him off and eventually run into John's mom while she and Myers meet cute for the first time in 20 years.
We gotta stop meeting like this.
The adults lock the kids in a closet for their safety and immediately shoot the security guard on accident.
I want to invade every part of your being.
So I guess they were protecting them from them.
Are we the baddies?
Then the guidance counselor is immediately karma'd to death. And Lori uses a blood trap to get a good smack in. Hello. And then she grabs the kids in a car and gets all the way to the gate, but decides to stay and dance with the devil in the pale moonlight.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
What? She sends them, grabs an axe, and man, she's just butt rock personified, baby. Back inside, Myers drops from a pipe, and they really just start invading each other's bodies with various stabbing implements like axes, flags, throw knives, although that one doesn't go so great.
Come on, stop trying to hit me and hit me.
Yeah, but then a held knife, which does go like so great. And Myers seems dead, but before Lori can stab his corpse a couple hundred times, the guard, who is fine, Karma, pulls her away because Myers is already dead.
He's dead. He's dead.
He was going to be an acrobat.
He's gone, sweetheart. He's gone.
But Lori knows better, so she steals a cop gun.
Don't move.
And the van where they put Myers' body and peels out. Myers wakes up and makes a move, so she slams on the brakes, throwing him out the windshield. Then she runs over him, and they and the van tumble off the side of the road. She flies free, but he gets slammed and pinned by the van. Was that her plan? That could not have worked any more fortuitously. Not even Vin Diesel could have pulled off that maneuver. Anyway, Lori walks up, grabs an axe, touches tips with her brother for a second, and then clobbers his head right off. Creed credits.
Hooray!
Absolutely no Na'vi in the entire movie, though, despite the H2O.
Get over it.
I think that's false advertising. Marketing malpractice, even. Hey Dave, you want to maybe play video games later? Maybe talk about our past, discuss maybe if we've ever forced a buddy into making long-form videos?
As long as we can make the place sizzle like a summertime cookout.
What?
You know Buster? Buzzer, Trevor George Smith.
I feel like we should just move on.
Oh, shit. On my door this late. Whoever this is distracting me from seeing Watch Chun-Li whoop some ass.
Oh, sweet! The most boring opening credits to date.
I'm feeling like I'm running and I'm feeling like I gotta get away.
Nice. Also a tunnel.
You've heard of the tunnel.
Which everybody's heard of.
Where everybody knows. The tunnel.
Of course. At the end of the well-known tunnel is both a mental institution and also a door that leads to either heaven or hell, which is a little reductive, I think. The concept of heaven as the ultimate destination for Christians is really a pretty recent, and I think misinformed idea. Just saying, Lori, the hope is not simply the Halloween resurrection and a ticket on the heaven-bound spaceship, but also the Halloween redemption of all of present bodily creation, or whatever. Maybe it's just a bathroom in a mental institution. And yeah, here's Lori, because she accidentally decapitated the wrong dude at the end of the last movie because Myers switched clothes with a paramedic or something, and if you huff enough glue...
We don't want safe, we want toxic.
You could probably work out how that guy was thought to be completely dead by professional EMTs, but not so dead that he wasn't able to come back to life in the van later and try to grab Lori, but also he had never considered removing this, like, mask from his head, and he couldn't talk because Myers crushed his larynx. So, you know, that didn't work. And also his heart maybe stopped when the EMTs were checking him, so that's why they didn't see. And his brain got a little, didn't get enough oxygen, which is why he forgot to take off his mask. It makes perfect sense.
Oh, yeah. It's all coming together.
Hey, remember when ancient Irish murder runes were the silliest thing about these movies? Good times. I miss those times. This series of events made Lori crazy and sad, except, oh wait, she's not crazy.
But I'm not crazy, I'm just a little unwell.
She's actually gonna stuff some meds into the butthole of her weird doll. She's thinking very clearly. And hey, Myers is outside. Maybe. There's definitely another weirdo in a clown mask who freaks out a guard, holy shit, even though he's harmless, unlike who is definitely insane. I mean, how can he walk past a machine full of ice-cold, delicious Pepsi without purchasing a couple cans?
Hilton cookies.
Two guards go to get him, but one is seduced by the call of vending machine food, which is just enough of a distraction for the other guard to disappear inside yet another haunted laundry machine that launders his head.
How'd you get stuck in the washing machine?
It's probably gonna need way more bleach.
For life's bleachable moments.
Doesn't matter, I guess, because Myers slices the other guy's throat, which is like boring. Stop with the throat slicing, Mike. Be original. God. Throw the severed head through the other guy's stomach or something. I don't know. Just do something.
Michael Myers hits that powerbomb drop kick by Michael.
Myers Kool-Aid Mans his way into Lori's room.
I'm moving different. This shit ain't nothing to me, man.
But she clobbers him and booby traps his ass on the roof.
Hello. Michael.
With the rope and pulley system that there is no way she could have rigged herself with available equipment. And even if she could, is it really gonna work? What are we even doing here? Well, if you're Myers, you're just hanging limply until, God! He apparently hates the sound of a rope being cut. And this reminds Lori that she should maybe check to make sure she's not murdering some random father of 3 again. Because, I mean, who knows? It could be me! A married father of 3. For those keeping track at home, that's 5 mouths to feed. Not including my dog or Dave. I have a Patreon. But of course, when she reaches for the mask, Myers reaches for her life and stabs and Grubers her. Rip Lori. Then Myers hands his bloody knife to the clown guy to frame him, maybe? That's kind of messed up, Michael.
Michael Myers.
Real dick move. Do you know what a fake murder charge can do to a person's credit score? Oh, damn. Haddonfield done glowed up and got itself a university. Oh, what's that? Oh, I'm hearing reports that Haddonfield University was also in the 6th movie, but I didn't mention it because these movies are all a sad, blurry swirl in my quickly softening brain mush. Oh, shit.
Unforgivable.
Regardless, this very real and very good university apparently isn't worried about students like Sarah here cruising on their mopeds right through campus where everybody walks. They also seemingly tolerate obnoxious blondes like Jen, and yes, I know that she was on Battlestar Galactica. I fucked up! But that doesn't make her not annoying in this movie, Dave.
I am distracting.
Here's an annoying boy that I'll say is named Chef Boy. Yeah! And they're all excited, give or take, because they've been selected by Dangertainment.
You think that's extreme?
To live stream themselves entering the old Myers house for the amusement of whatever the internet was in 2002.
I want to poop back and forth.
The other 3 teens are also annoying, but Sarah stands out because she can scream so hard that explodes. Which producer Busta Rhymes is very into.
Come on, come on, come on.
Busta knows good Twitch.
And I'm gonna break your goddamn neck.
Put this screaming chick in a hot tub and maybe pretend to be an NBC and boom!
This is an NBC News special report.
Gang, gang, hey! Gang, gang.
Something's up the ass!
Get his ass, get his ass, get his ass.
But unfortunately, Sarah's having reservations. But Busta's like, no, don't you want to be famous? And she says,
I don't want to be famous.
But then she's like, okay, I guess I'll do it.
That's the American dream.
So problem solved.
Fear is good.
There's Busta again with that silver tongue of his.
Just nod your fucking head.
Oh, actually, speaking of 2002's internet, it turns out that Sarah is being catfished by a freshman named something, but who online goes by Deckard because Blade Runner reference.
Officer Deckard.
Probably. Of course, this creates an ethical dilemma because Deckard's roommate got them invited to a party, but Deckard told Sarah that he'd watch her online.
Yeah, that's before internet porn, man.
He's a babe runner.
But his roommate is like, this party is dope, and also there's literally no way for her to know if you watch or not.
Cyber whipped.
So Deckard goes to the party. Whew, dilemma.
All right, let's go.
Oh, did you think I was going to talk about the dilemma of catfishing? That's how you do it! Nah, that's tight. They use Palm Pilots.
Chat room romance?
Deckard can pilot my palms, if you know what I mean. Right to my low-rise jeans, baby. They're probably texting each other via MSXL. At the party, the white freshmen dress like Pulp Fiction's Jules and Vincent, just to give the party air the slight fragrance of racism.
Hey, Miles, you think anyone will know we're supposed to be from Pulp Fiction?
Say the word you want to say.
And Deckard finds an unlocked computer and immediately starts watching porn. I mean, the stream. Look, we all know what the stream is going to need for it to be successful. By the way, even at this early point, I think I can say with confidence that this is easily the worst film in this franchise. A low bar to hit your head on, fall over, and fart in front of your crush, but they're doing it. By God, they're doing it.
Guys! It's not stopping! It won't quit! Great!
So now, they're at the house, and the kids all sport personal GoPros, and viewers can pick which camera to watch, so they'd better be interesting. And as an example of a camera looking at something interesting, well, here's Tyra Banks' butt, I guess. She's helping run Dangertainment from the house's basement, and this other guy is also helping, but he's impaled with a camera. And nobody ever thinks to check on him ever again. In fact, Tyra says,
It's a nice angle, boy.
As if there wasn't a whole ass tripod fully visible in the shot. I'm starting to worry that Dangertainment might not be a very professional video production company. Unlike Breeding Ground LLC, email me today to make your video dreams come true and feed my children.
I got one word for you, Freddie.
What's that?
Product placement.
The Not My Kids enter the house, and predictably their cameras look like shit. They've been told they can't leave until morning, but unless this shit's been rigged or they snuck these kids Viagra, there's not gonna be much to look at for the next 12 hours. I mean, you and I know that they're gonna be murdered by Myers, but nobody else knows that. This house is gonna be super boring.
But I'll bet it has one of those big, nice, old kitchens, you know?
Oh, never mind then. I stand corrected. Somebody call Rachel Ray or the guy from The Bear.
Chef.
And yeah, one of the weird dudes does his best to get things going by trying to talk Jen into doing some nudity, which almost works, but no. Yeah, and he's so hornily dismayed by this that he goes and gets murdered by Myers through a mirror. Which is either some complex metaphor about finding the reasons for his failure within himself, or it's not that.
Cheers.
Similarly, in the basement, another chick and a male music major sort of maybe are about to hook up. Well, until she says...
Screwing a music major would be tantamount to lesbianism.
Which, okay, what about a music minor?
I could get into that.
Specifically, a music industry minor. Am I lesbian enough for you?
You'll like light up in fire if you walk into a chapel because you're a f***ing pagan little shit.
Dave, I'm not talking about the movie anymore. I'm talking about you, big guy.
A big lesbian crush on you.
Are you a lesbian because I minored in music industry at James Madison University? Because if so, that's so wild and so brave of you. Well, this is all pretty boring for me to watch, but it has really gathered a crowd at the party. They probably just heard the word lesbian and everybody came running in. Dave was in the bathroom when I said it earlier, and he almost knocked over the camera scrambling in here. You know what we're talking about, lesbians?
Are you gay?
It's a matter of public record.
The lesbian couple find a hatch hole in the basement floor and decide to 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, and 42 their ass down there.
Hippity hop.
Only to find chains, which...
Looks like some sort of sadistic playpen.
Yeah. Finally revs her engine. 50 Shades of Grey really was just lying dormant in every woman waiting to finally be freed by the world's worst writer.
Say something smart. 50 Shades of
They go to town on each other's young bodies for like 5 seconds or so until he immediately, the wall immediately explodes with weird corpses that were apparently made in Taiwan.
Oh, God.
Because yeah, this is all staged.
Look at this.
I guess leaving the sticker on was just a mistake, but wouldn't it make more sense to tell the kids what was going on so that they could discover the right creepy set pieces or whatever?
Well, that is what I'm talking about.
And also on that, are they gonna get sued for this nudity? Is this stream age-gated? Did she sign a consent form? Forget being sued, they're going to jail, and not like the sexy jail from all those lesbian documentaries that I watch on Dave's laptop.
Yeah, you got some nice titties.
Orange is the New Black is a documentary, right?
You got them TV titties.
I don't know, but the music major leaves while the girl presses further into the sub-basement to get murdered on a spike. And, you know, let's keep things moving.
Too much. I mean, I can't breathe.
I'm telling you I can't. I'm so hot. It's the size of my eye.
I don't want to be around anymore.
Oh, look, it's like Dave's fantasy that he's always mumbling about in his sleep. 2 Michael Myers. One of them is, of course, Busta Rhymes.
I'm playing Michael Myers.
And he berates the other Myers until...
God, scoop, skedaddle.
Can't you see we don't want you anymore?
He just leaves. Like, what motivates Myers exactly? How does he decide when and who to attack? He just sort of does things. He's like a dog chasing a car. Dumb as shit.
Very poor choice of words.
Jen does illegal drugs with Chef Boy.
It's a good thing there's no cameras in here.
Is if they aren't literally on cameras, they're wearing cameras. And obviously these two are going to die, but has there ever been a horror movie where the final girl is actually the sluttiest, stupidest character of the bunch? If not, we should make one.
Okay, that is so not funny.
Smoke cloud! Sarah is grabbed by Busta Myers, and when Music Major smacks him, he tells them to turn off your camera, turn off your camera! And he admits that, yeah, he plussed the house in some key ways to keep it interesting, but it's not working, Busta! It's not very interesting! Wait. He mentions that he's gonna make a lot of money off of this, but how? Like, what's your monetization strategy, Busta? YouTube doesn't even exist yet. And weird European perverts need to see much weirder stuff before they open their wallets. Trust Dave on that.
I've seen worse.
Sarah and Chef Boy are not swayed by Busta's monetization argument, so they turn to leave, but then Jen gets her head chopped off. So they're like, fine, I want to see where this goes. Deckard finally realizes, hey, wait a minute. Is that real? Is that a real head?
What did they do to her?
I've seen a real head, and that looks like a real head. Like, for example, this Music Major's almost certainly real head is getting real squeezed here. And it looks bad, but like, maybe it's just me, but I think it might be real. The rest of the party crowd, minus Deckard, is super into it. Because they know nothing of heads. Chef Boy turns into Chef Ninja for a bit, and he just chefs all over Myers.
You like sushi, motherfucker?
Until Myers is like, I'm all chefed out, bitch.
Bitch.
So now it's just Sarah. Or wait, it's not just Sarah. It's Sarah and her trusty Palm Pilot, which she uses to communicate with Deckard and ask him things like, how do I not die? He does tell her to not scream, but thank God he didn't type, don't stab yourself in the eyeball, Sarah. She shimmies onto the roof and headbutt, head kick. She runs into Busta again. And he and Myers fight. And let me tell you, kids, it is not what you'd expect. Yeah, Busta is into karate. Not just the fighting style, but the lifestyle of making weird noises while you fight, and it's uncomfortable. But it's not entirely ineffective. I mean, it is in the sense that Myers still isn't dead.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like, your opinion, man.
But you know, still.
This is bad.
Sarah runs some more, throwing Myers for a loop-de-loop and locking him in Desmond's hatch. Hey, where's Tyra during all this? I mean, all I see is this big slippery pool of... Oh. No. Also, it's pretty weird that she was set up in the house. Like, what if the kids had found her? Wouldn't that kind of ruin the vibe? Probably not as much as everybody being butchered by a serial killer, I guess.
If you're edged because I'm wheezing on your grind, it's just chill.
But anyway, Myers finds her, but she finds her in her Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She says that her various blows are, you know, dedicated for the various people that have died. But then she runs out of juice.
Oh, shit.
But it's okay, because there's that weak explosion, and she kind of grunts a lot. Busta's back!
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
You can't bust the Busta. He'd never go get busted.
Busta makes me feel good.
And he's still ninja-ing with varied levels of success.
No!
Until he electrocutes Myers and says yet another one-liner.
Burn, motherfucker!
Eat my shit.
And do you think they wrote any of Busta's lines? Or they just said, hey, Busta, you rap, right? Just bust it!
Happy f***ing Halloween!
Nobody says that.
Also, carry Sarah out before she burns to death in what will end up being just the tiniest little pile of rubble. You're telling me that's all that's left after a 5-floor house burned down? Well, it must have really just burned so hard.
Burn!
Sarah and Busta end up on the news and Busta busts all over everybody.
Michael Myers is not a soundbite. Michael Myers is a killer shark. Baggy ass overalls.
But I'm not gonna take this anymore!
Including Myers' corpse.
Like some chicken fried, motherfucker.
Which is actually really awkward because he's obviously not dead.
I want you to get up right now.
I, as a rule, never bust on the dead. Dave lives, though, by, let's say, different rules.
I'm a human being. Damn it!
Oh, now it's the credits, but are we just never going to resolve the Sarah and Deckard thing? It's weird that they don't actually meet IRL, right? And maybe the sequel to this movie will be a rom-com, and their wacky misunderstanding will be the time that he pretended to have a different name in a chat room and he catfished the shit out of her. That would be silly.
That's how you do it!
Yeah, scratch that. We're doing Scream now.
Why?
Yeah, and also the second movie, gone. Only the first explanation is canon, and this is really gonna get us right at the heart of, what is a Dave? Yeah, I don't think it will.
I got peanut butter on my penis.
Ew, Dad.
Oh, look! We're soft rebooting again! And this time, only the very first movie is canon. And you remember nothing else, okay?
Totally.
We open per sequel usual in Smith's Grove. We're two inexplicably British podcasters.
Thank you so much.
Hope to convince Michael to finally talk for the first time in 40 years and, rank his favorite Marvel movies? Whatever gets the most SEO juice. Maybe they'll be like, hey, Michael, do you think popcorn has gotten too woke? And then they'll use the title, Michael Myers Destroys Popcorn for 43 minutes. I don't know. But they meet with Myers' newish doctor.
Good afternoon.
Who was a former student of the since deceased Dr. Loomis, which should be like a huge black mark on your resume, right? Like, Loomis was literally the worst ever at containing or stopping or even remotely understanding Michael.
He was doing very well last night.
That's not what your mother says.
Even throwing out the weirdness of all the sequels, Loomis apparently never got Myers to say a single word in many, many decades. How did the new guy even get this job? That's like trying to get a job at Arby's and listing Subway's Jared as your main mentor.
Remember Jared from Subway? He's inspired a lot of people.
It's not good.
Well, that's why we're here.
Anyway, they head out to the Alice in Wonderland-esque checkerboard yard and try to rile Myers up with his favorite mask.
I borrowed something from a friend at the Attorney General's office, Michael.
Let the game begin!
This doesn't do much except cause all the other crazy people to just freak out. Cut to a title sequence with a pump-up pumpkin. That's the perfect Thanksgiving feast compliment to your mom's delicious Nike turkey.
Pump it. Make it big now.
Now we're back in Haddonfield, because where else would we be, you stupid idiots? Fulton, Illinois? Grow up. The fancy podcasters have pivoted to convincing Lori to rank her favorite Marvel films. She lives in the sort of isolated fortress that all former Final Girls live in.
Hey.
And she only agrees to the interview when bribed with a cool $3 grand.
How does $3,000 sound?
I like money.
The interview, of course, offers little to no insight on why Phase 5 has been such a wet blanket.
There's nothing to learn. There are no new insights or discoveries.
Your mind is being held hostage by your alternate self.
Who?
John Cena!
But it does reveal that Lori has 2 failed marriages and that the state took her daughter from her when the kid was 12, probably just because she likes homeschooling.
I didn't. But you already knew that.
But that's pretty much it, though. This podcast is gonna be really good.
Testing, check, 1, 2, 3.
My prediction is going to just absolutely fall off a cliff after that.
Cut from there to Lori's estranged daughter, who probably isn't named Kitty, but who I'm gonna call Kitty because she will always be Kitty.
And say goodbye.
No.
You really didn't have to do that, Mom.
And also her husband, Peanut Butter Dick.
I got peanut butter on my penis.
But don't call me a pea-head.
These two have raw dogged at least once.
Ew, Dad.
Producing a granddaughter named Allison with a Y. She has 2 friends named Certainly Will Die Blonde Girl and Dave. How does that make you feel, Dave? Just kidding. I am over here being like facts, not caring about your feelings.
Just shut the up, Dave.
You're here to scroll the teleprompter and not blow up any pumpkins.
Hey, is it cool if you guys if I explode one of these pumpkin heads?
Damn it, Dave! That Dave blows up pumpkins, just like you.
Sorry.
Allison also has a boyfriend played by Oppenheimer's sexy younger brother. He could nuke me right in the pants, yeah, Dave? Side note, I wish real-life English classes were as relevant as they always are in horror movies.
Even in the most disparaging of conditions.
Like, we never discuss topics that tangentially related to the unspeakable horror monsters chasing and murdering me and my horny, classmates.
I just don't know if you're supposed to be talking to us like that, just like as a teacher.
It was all Gilgamesh bullshit. Oh, I'm sorry, King of Uruk. Are you still torn up about Enkidu's death? Well, I'm not.
Gilgamesh.
I want to read Dune. Speaking of troubling familial dynamics and maybe near immortal sandworm emperors, Allison thinks her grandma is cool, but Kitty does not think that the grandma is cool.
Yeah.
It helps that Lori hands Allison that cool $3 grand.
Use it for whatever your heart desires.
GD glory hole!
Also, Lori has gotten weirdly into the John Wick movies, I guess, in the apparent hopes of headshotting Myers 15 times as he gets transferred to a new facility.
Yeah.
Except, well, she doesn't go through with it.
Seatbelts, everyone! Please let this be a normal field trip.
Because she's probably waiting for them to make a 5th movie, and I agree, because I'm gonna be honest, they had better not end Wick's story with part 4. The whole series is about how shitty the evil table is and how you can't beat the table, and you expect me to be satisfied with the series ending without defeating the table? Maybe they're hoping to cover that in a spinoff, but I don't want a spinoff to cover that. I want John Wick to get in there and just headshot everybody and then flip the table over and then set it on fire with a lit fart. That's literally the only way the series can end.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea.
Either that or a final confrontation with Bob Odenkirk's character from Nobody.
I'm gonna you up.
Yeah.
But anyway, Wussy Laurie shows up drunk and sad to a little family dinner where Allison's parents are finally getting to meet her boyfriend.
I'm the grandmother.
And I get that there's a lot of family history here, but Laurie's not really being all that disruptive. And yet Kitty is very upset.
This is exactly why we don't reach out.
Mom. And to be fair, it does turn out that Laurie trained her almost exactly like Sarah Connor trained John Connor. So Kitty is about to go through pretty much the same emotional journey as John did in the first act and a half or so of T2.
This is deep.
Cool. I just watched those movies. You should watch me watch those movies. Synergy. I'm live streaming and I'm talking to you.
Do I get that to the camera?
No. They call me One Take Jake.
I'm glad you got to see that.
Here's a fancy boy that prefers dancing to hunting.
I'm missing dance class for this.
Although he'll unfortunately never get to do either ever again because Myers' transfer bus has crashed. And the kid's dad disappears, forcing Tiny Dancer to go look for him, resulting in him doing the exact opposite of what the new doctor asks.
Don't shoot!
You had one job.
And getting the exact opposite of a pleasurable massage from Myers. Oh, hey, look! This police officer apparently still remembers the Titans. Look at him, playing pinball with African Americans. He's come so far since the beginning of that movie.
No thanks required, Coach.
Thanks.
He also gets sent to investigate the bus crash, and he does not like what he sees. Not a fan.
Whew.
Halloween! The podcasters, still desperate for content, head to Judith Myers' grave for some last-ditch titty flashbacks.
Maybe you can explain to me what's so special about Judith Myers.
Big ass titties!
Hey, we've got a few topless shots of Dave for whenever you guys start to lose interest in this video. Watch to the end! But yeah, boobies exhumed, they head to a gas station to take a shit and or crank one out, but unfortunately, Myers is already there shitting and or cranking one out. And he's killed the store attendant and the mechanic in the back for his coveralls because, God, he just loves sturdy coveralls designed to work hard to provide comfort through any season. Almost as much as smashing fancy head, killing fancy women, an epic slow-mo putting on his old ass, definitely creamed in by weird true crime fetishists mask. Elsewhere, the doctor has apparently survived, but is very sleepy.
Any word from Mr. Rip Van Winkle over here?
Ah, lovely. Nothing like a good nap. The kind of nap old Rip Van Winkle used to take.
I've been shot.
We've not seen the likes of this since the days of Peter Stuyvesant.
And the sheriff, dressed as one of those classic Illinois cowboys the state is so famous for, shows up and is like, Michael Myers, huh? Well, that's gonna be a bummer, lol. But what are we gonna do, cancel Halloween? Ah.
What are we gonna do? Cancel Halloween?
No. And speaking of, they arrive on the dead podcaster scene and are like, damn, shit's crazy. What are we gonna do, cancel Halloween? It's just a serial killer, guys.
Son of a bitch.
Well, see you later.
Laurie also hears the news and grabs some weapons and heads down into what appears to be a basement hole, or a bee-hole, if you will.
B-hole.
Yeah, the B-hole has it over the A-hole for sure.
The A-hole seems kind of small.
B-holes are tasty and flavorful.
The A-hole is nasty.
A-hole tastes funny.
I guess I'm just kind of a B-hole kind of guy.
She also scares the shit out of Kitty.
Gotcha! Jesus. You're dead.
But her and PBD, peanut butter dick,
Hey, you got your chocolate and my peanut butter.
Peanut butter on my chocolate.
What?
kick her out without much pushback from Laurie, despite this being the one thing that she spent the last 40 years preparing for.
Do you have a gun?
No, you need to go. Get out.
You'd think she'd be a little bit more aggressive about why they need to come with her and or grab guns and or, find a nice big b-hole to hide in.
The best kind of holes money can buy.
But she doesn't. So now it's night and kids be tricking and presumably treating, and Myers just can't resist joining the festivities. Nor can he resist beating a woman to death with a hammer.
Oh, that looks sinful.
That's your thing too, right? It's like, if I see a hammer and I see a woman, it's like, what am I gonna do? Not beat her to death with this hammer? It's tough. Dave is always trying to resist. He can't do it. But I would say that, yeah, right, Dave, beating a woman to death with a hammer is trick? Or is that treat? Dave thinks it's treat.
Oh, this is so rich.
I think Myers agrees. Oh no! This doctor has forgotten his stethoscope.
Wait, hang on. I don't have my stethoscope.
Hey, I've been there, man.
King Kong is plastic, so he's out. Caleb maybe, not plastic, not helpful. Jordan, was it your fault?
Then we get a pretty rad floating evil face shot and another random kill, and hey, that was all a wonder shot. This movie is art. And honestly, it is easily my favorite movie in the series so far. It even has a gender bent Bonnie and Clyde. Unfortunately, gender bent though Bonnie may be, he's still got a wandering weenie, and he kisses another girl, and then he dunks Clyde's phone in some liquid cheese. But to be fair, I mean, what did Clyde expect? Bonnie's the gender-bent criminal.
You don't have to cry about it, it's not that big a deal.
Allison heads to a house where CWDBG is babysitting a pretty spicy kid.
If I had some other kind of babysitter, she'd be reading me a story, I wouldn't be up clipping my nasty ass toenails.
See, the movie's even surprisingly funny at points. Why couldn't the last 50 movies have been like this movie? Dave shows up just begging to be cast in a Jack White biopic and also begging for that sweet pussy. They start macking, but she hears a weird noise, so she makes Dave go look as if a Dave could ever be of any real use. Oh, f me. And all he finds is a motorcycle in the garage. Classic Dave. Meanwhile, CWDBG does actually find Myers in the kid's closet, and she gets sliced and ultimately diced. Oh, she's pretty loud about it, though. So somebody calls in a disturbance, resulting in Bill Yost and Lori both arriving and wackily bumping into each other while chasing Myers around. Lori, they're too late to save Dave, which is, it's no big loss, but I thought I'd mention it. This is like my fourth Dave. You think I've been talking to one guy this whole time? No. I have an embarrassment of Daves, and they're all criminals. They're just in and out of jail. They're much cheaper. You get a tax break if you hire a criminal.
Hire your local Dave.
Just shut the up, Dave.
Backup finally arrives, and the doctor has evidently woken up, and Lori's like, hey, did you guys know that I've been literally praying that Michael would escape so I could kill him?
I pray every night.
And the cop is like,
well, that was a dumb thing to pray for.
Why would you pray for that? That's a bad thing to pray for. And yet, why wouldn't you just pray that Michael's penis like slips up inside him and punctures his heart or something? I've definitely prayed that for some people. Looks knowingly at Dave's heart. The cops finally grab Lori's family and take them all to her house/fortress, though they're still not able to contact Allison's cheese phone. But speaking of, she's hanging out with her creepy boyfriend's creepy friend who tries to creepily kiss her. Which he blames on.
All these girls were like dancing on me. They were feeding me guacamole in all these sexy ways. Guacamole. Their beautiful bodies got me all chubbed out.
Which is the exact phrasing I used to get out of a speeding ticket last week. It makes sense. You can't control yourself in those situations.
Oh, fantastic.
And Myers kills him for his chubbedness, not his chubbiness. It's not because he's overweight. He doesn't discriminate. He kills him because he's aroused.
Their beautiful bodies got me all chubbed out.
He doesn't hate thick hogs. Sorry, he doesn't hate thick boys, but he does hate thick hogs. So I'm definitely in trouble, but Dave, not so much. He's got that flaccid hog. Maybe I shouldn't be streaming this.
Dude, you're acting like really sketchy right now. I don't.
Allison runs around screaming, but nobody's home because it's parent sex party o'clock. But the cop finds her, so it's all good. The doctor is there too, and he literally says,
I'm a doctor. Lock your doors.
Which is smart because I never listen to what anybody says unless they're a doctor. Like if you yelled, I'm a plumber, lock your doors, guess what? I ain't locking shit.
But then the next day you went into the bathroom and it looked like the hole in your toilet had shrunk?
They drive away and over Myers.
What the hell was that?
He was walking by and the doctor is like, I'm a doctor. He's dead.
You killed him.
Except whoops, this is one of those lying doctors and he pulls a Hippocratic Oath combo breaker right into the cop's neck.
Fatality.
Woo! Hey, that's actually a pretty fun twist. Apparently Doc really wants to see what happens if Myers gets to fight Lori. And specifically, he's hoping that Myers finally says something like, I don't know, Misa's so horny, or Michael Myers was my father, you call me Dirty Pete. Those are both things that he might say. I'm not saying he will say it, but we won't know unless we throw his unconscious ass in the backseat of this cop car with Allison and bring him to Laurie, will we?
I've never heard him speak, you see.
Also, it's important that I finger Myers' nose a little bit for science.
Science.
Maybe put on his mask.
I'm joking.
Maybe throw on his underwear. I don't know. The scene cuts before he gets all the way into his science experiment, but it gets odd.
So many possibilities exist.
Of course, they don't quite get there anyway, because Myers kicks the back of Doc's seat like a petulant 8-year-old, but one that's roided out on Code Red, giving Allison an opportunity to escape into the woods, and Myers an opportunity to go full drive 2011 on Doc's head.
Hey, do you want to see something?
A nearby cop couple checks out the scene while old Peanut Butter Dick leaves the safety of the house to go check out the nearby cop's dark cop car, but it turns out that they're dead, and also he's dead. So rest in peace, Chunky Pieces, Peanut Butter Dick. Remember that time that they killed Mr. Peanut? This is like that.
He spent his life bringing people together.
And hopefully he similarly gets resurrected as a baby Peanut Butter Dick.
A warrior has nothing to be ashamed of. How about you do?
That sounds disgusting. Yeah.
Talk about soaring profits. Maybe jail. I really shouldn't be live streaming this. Look, in the context, it's totally cool. Just don't remix this. Laurie smartly stands right next to the front door, and what do you know? Smart move.
It wasn't.
But it's okay because she shotguns off some of his fingies.
My fingers hurt.
She wanders around the house not calling 911, and though she has extra like door gates, it feels like she should have a few more booby traps and maybe a few less mannequins that look like serial killers in the dark. It's pretty confusing.
If you're real, you better tell me right now!
Like, why did Laurie have Kitty turn the lights off in the first place?
Karen, the lights.
Is that better?
Just seems like there's still light coming in from under the door.
Again, like in the first movie, that only helps the killer. Jason's whole thing is that he likes to kill the power, but Myers never even has to bother. He probably doesn't even know what a light switch is. Every time he walks into a room, the lights go off. He's like, well, guess I'll stab something. Hey, imagine how much damage Myers could do with a gun. Like really, his only weakness is range. He's slow as and can't hurt anybody more than like 4 feet away, but Myers with a gun, he probably could have taken the Capitol. And now we are definitely demonetized. Or am I extra monetized for speaking the truth? Jordan destroys, what did I destroy for 43 minutes? Guns or serial killers? I think both, have their place.
Yeah.
But no, here Myers goes again, fisticuffing. Laurie gets thrown off the roof right as Allison shows up and dives right into the b-hole with Kitty, and Kitty grabs her old rifle from before Child Protective Services took her away, and she pretends to be scared when Myers opens up her b-hole.
I can't do it!
But actually, she's not scared.
Gotcha.
And it was a ruse.
A ruse? Bring, bring. Hello? Hi, it's the 1930s.
And she likes having the b-hole ripped open. Then Laurie shows back up, and he falls right back into that b-hole. And Allison stabs him some, and Laurie activates a b-hole grate that keeps him trapped in the b-hole. Then she activates the mega booby trap, which is that the whole house can be filled with gas and exploded. Hopefully that kills him. I mean, obviously it won't, but it might hurt. So that's nice. Oh, also they flag down a car. It's more a truck.
I'm gonna be a truck.
Want to end that on a strong note. They want to end on an inaccuracy. That's how the magic happens. Thank you for stopping by.
They're all nice guys until they get you pregnant, and then you gotta drive in their pickup trucks.
Dave, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm not Dave. We just escaped from the same mental institution.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Does it, though?
He stabbed his sister in the tits.
Yuck.
You know how Halloween, the holiday itself, kills? Well, this movie's title itself is sort of a PSA for that phenomenon. And to help that terrifying info go down smooth, it opens with some fun balloons and a still alive gender-bent Bonnie.
Damn it!
But Bonnie boyfriend sees the dead main cop, but twist!
Mama, wake up!
He's not full dead, and he is adamant that he's gonna be the one to kill Myers.
He needs to die, and I'm the one that's gonna get him.
Sure, dude. Good luck, lol.
He needs to die.
Let's hop back in time to that first fateful night in 1978, when main cop here was a much younger cop and chasing Michael Myers. He links up with some other cops, and he and a buddy head into the old Myers house to see what goodies it may contain within, and oh!
There's a dead dog in here.
Oh, well, goody.
Yummo!
What?
Nothing.
Oh, also
Nothing exciting ever happened.
bomber!
Hey!
Myers chokes the other cop, and main cop, who, fine, I'll call by his character name Hawkins, tries to pull a SWAT 2003 and shoot through his buddy to hit Myers, but mostly he just shoots his buddy in the damn throat. The cop dies, but cops and a CG Dr. Loomis manage to arrest Myers for the crime of soiling Halloween's name and linking it to the public consciousness with bad things like murder and William Shatner. Anyway, I guess all's well that ends well. Well, other than the fact that Loomis intended to execute Myers on the spot, but Hawkins felt so guilty about that he was like, hey, no more killing tonight. And stopped Loomis from plugging Myers right there and ending the franchise so much earlier.
I swear I was just trying to do the right thing.
He didn't.
I could have made all this go away.
He didn't.
If Thor could somehow be trapped by these runes, the energies could cancel themselves out.
I can't go through this again.
And then another cop tells Hawkins to claim his buddy accidentally shot himself because it'd be a whole thing otherwise, and all this paperwork and blah. Yeah, who has time for that? We also meet a kid here in this flashback named Lonnie who got bullied a lot, I guess, and to be fair, he does suck at running. And he also sucks at self-defense.
I'm sorry for tripping.
But that's it. End of the flashback, title sequence. This time it's got like a million bleeding and burning pumpkins, which sounds like the aftermath of the world's worst barbecue. Obviously, it's still the same Halloween night as last movie with the added twist of some sexy singing women on a stage in this bar. And apparently it's a talent show, and once the sexy women stop sexily singing, a much older Lonnie comes on stage and introduces Tommy. Remember the kid from the first film?
He's become the most captivating bird whistler.
And he comes up there and he recaps the plot of the first movie and freaks everybody out.
And they were brutally attacked by this stalker who had a power beyond any mortal man.
Not the most fun talent, but he does hold their attention. It turns out that the nurse and the other babysat girl, Lindsay Wallace from the first movie, are also in the crowd. Big fun reunion we got going on.
Let's love Mama!
Oh, also it turns out Lonnie is Allison's boyfriend's shitty daddy, so just like tuck that away. Lori, Kitty, and Allison are still bleeding in the back of that pickup truck when a bunch of fire trucks whiz by heading to Lori's place and... Yeah, they basically free Myers before he burns to death in that fiery beehole, and the firefighters try to cool him down with a hose, but it doesn't really work. So he massacres every single firefighter in an admittedly pretty rad fight scene.
Get the f out of here!
And when the cops show up, they have no idea what to do, so they just all kind of wander around and shine their flashlights on all the dead bodies. No attempt to do anything, just sort of standing around like, well, damn, I hate when that happens. Ooh, that must have hurt. Hey, Jeff, this guy got axed really good. Must have hurt. Huh, Jeff? Lori ends up in the hospital, and hey, Sheriff Daddy from the first movie is a security guard now there. That's fun.
I guess everyone's entitled to one
Horrible, horrible job.
So I wasn't there to put a bullet in his brain.
And they perform surgery on Lori's stabbed tummy, and they tape her eyes shut? Is that normal? I don't want that. Remind me to never get stabbed by a serial killer.
Appreciate it.
She survives, and Hawkins is brought into the room because I guess they're running out of space in this hospital because healthcare sucks ass.
You know, I never said anything because I couldn't be sure.
And like, I hope that they share several touching anecdotes and unearned theories about Myers and his powers or whatever throughout the rest of this film.
Do you remember that night?
I remember that night.
I remember.
Oh, it's about time.
Oh, good.
He's a 6-year-old boy.
Back to the bar for a sec. Definitely not Michael Myers ends up in the backseat of the doctor who forgot a stethoscope last movie and indeed forgets it again this movie.
I forgot my stethoscope.
He's so forgetful.
What's wrong with you?
But everyone in the bar thinks it is Myers, so they try and kill him, but the dude, who is actually just another escaped mental patient from the that Myers escaped from, steals the car, crashes it, and runs away on foot. Undeterred, the mob, primarily led by Tommy,
Say night-night, night-night.
decide, okay, why don't we just drive around town and create an even bigger mob to hunt Myers, or the guy that we think is Myers, down, and then beat him to death with baseball bats. That'll totally work.
Anything for the end of the night. Something big, bold.
May I suggest?
This sassy tackle.
Do enjoy your party.
And, you know, make for a fun Halloween.
When terror is supposed to be fun.
Allison joins them, but not before gifting her unconscious grandmother her bloody, filthy knife. Thoughtful.
Smells like burnt shit.
We see then an old interracial couple, which is a little woke for me.
Do not talk no shit about that woman. She will f you up.
But thankfully, Myers comes in to murder them in a huge win for the moral majority.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
But then we see a gay couple who refer to each other as Big John and Little John, and oh my God, we need Myers to get in here and make America great again. And I'm certain that he will, because they're apparently living in the old, now renovated Myers house. Just light-gazed, queer eye, a perfectly fine, dilapidated haunted house. Is nothing sacred.
Not trying to be funny. Not trying to get a laugh.
He stabbed his sister in the tits.
Yuck.
Also, weirdly, Little John, who is dressed as a gay pirate, is like, hey, wanna watch a movie? It's Halloween. And Big John is like,
That. It's Halloween.
you know on Halloween, we love to dance to spooky records.
Oh, well, goody.
Which has gotta be like just a him thing, right? Everybody else watches horror movies? Or YouTube videos about horror movies? Right? This video has 1 million views, right? I'll be able to feed my family this month, right?
It's tempting.
They think they hear some
Bitch in the bushes.
but it's actually alt-right hero
Michael f***ing Myers.
who snuck through the back door, which, I mean, doesn't sound like something a conservative champion would do, but then yeah, he stabs and eyeball pops Big John and also presumably kills Little John.
You've come home.
Which very much defends traditional family values.
Thank you, darling.
Back to the posse for a hot second. One of the posse cars full of legacy characters gets attacked by Myers after they stop to check on some kids playing on the playground who are unaware that Myers has already killed one of their other friends.
Oh, hello! Hello!
And the nurse successfully shoots out every window in the car, but unfortunately doesn't have any remaining ammo for the actual serial killer.
This is for Dr. Loomis. I don't want it!
So she dies. And the doctor, who is actually a nurse, gets stabbed in the eye, while his sexy nurse wife, who is actually a doctor, shoots herself. When Myers kicks a door into her hand, which is pretty funny and awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I'm having fun. Lindsay tries whacking Myers with a pillowcase full of bricks, but it's ineffective, and she buggers off into the woods. Another posse car with Allison, Lonnie, and boyfriend observe the aftermath of the massacre with an unrelated to their car, Tommy, and they're like, damn, this is kind of gross.
Me.
Very poor choice of words.
So Tommy riles everybody up at the hospital by running around and yelling, "Evil dies tonight!
Evil dies tonight!
Evil dies tonight!
Evil dies tonight!"
Evil dies tonight! Damn it, Bracket!
And I'm not gonna lie, if somebody just started yelling that, I don't think I would know what they were talking about. It's pretty non-specific. I hate evil. Yeah, I guess. I don't think I like it. We should kill it tonight if we can.
I appreciate you, but could you get out, please?
This makes Lori realize, yeah, she didn't finish off Myers, so she injects her butthole with pain drugs.
Do you even know what that is?
The poison for...
Real quick, why are so many characters convinced that Myers isn't some scary dude, but rather like evil incarnate with a bunch of specific prophetic rules about how he can die and how he's motivated?
The boogeyman is at large. He's got no choice but to emerge.
Every time somebody's afraid, the boogeyman wins.
There's nothing inside that man but pure evil.
The more he kills, the more he transcends into something else.
No.
Maybe the only way he can die is if I die too.
I mean, maybe.
It's like they've all seen the other weird Halloween movies where he survived like 10 other deaths, but this movie rejects all of those movies, so he really doesn't have much history of surviving crazy stuff at this point. Just the one time.
I mean, what, a couple people getting killed by one guy with a knife is not that big of a deal.
Why jump to assuming that he's not even human and is inextricably linked to Laurie somehow? It just feels like they're coming up with a lot of random lore out of thin air, and to be fair, Hawkins is like, yeah, I don't know. He just kind of seems like a murderous piece of shit who only wants to stand in his house and stare at himself in the window. The doctor is who brought him to you specifically, Laurie. Maybe he's just a really mean, really violent homebody.
But in his heart, it always seemed to me he wants one thing.
And I mean, maybe.
There's a lot worse stuff that's happening today.
But the bigger issue is that random mental patient is loose in the hospital and everybody wants to kill him. You know, to make evil die tonight. Because they're like, oh, I guess that's what he was talking about.
Him?
And this is all despite Laurie calmly explaining that he's not Myers. And also very calmly beating the shit out of random doctors. In general, people are getting knocked over like a Travis Scott concert. I get those goosebumps every time. And yelling again about how evil dies tonight.
Stop trying to make
evil dies tonight
happen. It's not going to happen.
And Laurie ends up having a live act. Kitty, for some reason, makes it her mission to protect this dude, but do we know that he's a good guy? Huh. I get that he's not the worst guy, but wasn't he also being transferred to some crazy maximum security prison ward where they don't even let patients see the sun? There's no reason to assume that he's just like misunderstood.
It's not you. I know it's not you.
Whatever, he kills himself before the mob does, and clearly this is a metaphor for cancel culture.
That's a metaphor!
I mean, literally, it's a metaphor for something.
Like the famous one I made up about Jamie Lee Curtis. That she has 2 butts.
That's a metaphor!
These movies are woke! Jordan destroys his own stomach for 43 minutes in protest of woke movies.
Everything I don't like is woke.
It's true. It's weird how that works out.
Gluten's a vague term. It's something that's used to categorize things that are bad. You know, calories, that's a gluten. Fat, that's a gluten.
Tommy realizes they were canceling the wrong guy, but he's like, hey, we don't know what Myers looks like.
He's always worn a mask. How do we know it's not him?
Except wasn't he in the state prison system for
the last 40 years
without his mask? Did nobody take a picture of him in all that time? How has his photo not been released yet?
I dropped it.
I don't know, but the mob is like, ever vigilant, don't let setbacks slow you down. Let's go to Myers' old house and maybe we can try and beat the shit out of him there. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight.
I gotta keep trying. But if I go down, I'm gonna go down swinging.
That's a metaphor!
Of course, Allison, boyfriend, and Lonnie get their way ahead of everybody. And Lonnie heads in by himself until the kids hear a gunshot, and then they run in themselves.
Cameron, let's go.
Hey, by the way, I get that Laurie and Kitty are trained, but do we have any reason to believe that Allison is trained to wield a big-ass shotgun? I mean, granted, she does Halloween kills the hell out of a pumpkin. But that lack of awareness training really comes to play when she finds the dead gay John's
penis! 2 penises!
And immediately drops her shotgun while the boyfriend wanders off to find his dad bleeding from the attic and then himself bleeding from various Myers stabs. Aw, it's like they're bonding, kind of. Allison gets in a few decent stabs of her own, but is pretty quickly chucked down the stairs, breaking her leg. She tries screaming to distract Myers from murdering her boyfriend, but no dice!
No! Heads are falling off!
Myers comes to stab her and she's like, do it.
Do it.
Stab me. Come on.
Do it.
Just stab me. You're not gonna do it. Just do it.
Do it.
And that's kind of a tough thing to say, but it's also nonsense, right? Like usually in a movie, that's what a villain says to the hero to try and get him to fall to the dark side or whatever.
Strike me down with all of your hatred.
Do it.
I don't think killing Allison will suddenly make Myers regret the 38 other people he's massacred. But before he can muddle through Allison's trolley problem, Kitty shows up, pitchforks his ass.
My butt! Don't break my butt! Don't break my butt!
Grabs his mask and is like,
I just came by so that you could say goodbye to these.
Oh, no.
You wanna
and he lumbers after her sporting his terrifying male pattern baldness. But twist, the whole town is waiting for him. Gotcha. And OG Cop Daddy even gets in a
Everyone's entitled to one good scare.
which is a really weak one-liner. I get that it's a callback, but it's a pretty awkward delivery. And do we really think that Myers is scared right now? He should have said, everybody's entitled to one good, thick chubby. But even then, we know that Myers doesn't even believe that because he's already killed at least one person over a chubby tonight. So really no one-liner works there.
Everyone's entitled to one good.
They punch and shoot him a lot, and Kitty gets in a good stab or two. But he is still Michael Myers, and Laurie makes some point elsewhere about, oh no, he definitely gets stronger the more people he kills, and that makes him transcend
into something else impossible to defeat.
And his name is John C.
Because, you know, he is evil incarnate, and he's probably not gonna die tonight. But she's got a lot of fun theories like this, and well, he does get back up, and he does kill literally everybody in epic slow-mo, including Tommy, and eventually also Kitty.
Guess I do get to see them again, huh?
Laurie intuits all of this somehow and decides to come for Michael, which is gross.
I'm coming for you, Michael.
Oh, but she did find her nasty knife, so that's good.
She has 2 butts.
All right, well, this is the last one. Really? Maybe. What do you mean, maybe? Yeah, there just might be a problem with your insurance. I'll go call them, but you just get started on your own.
I don't really feel like pretending to be best friends with an ugly ass boy babysitter.
Oh, another happy rock music radio station. Fun.
Nothing you can do about it.
Oh, weird. This movie is set in Haddonfield, but now it's 2019. And an
ugly ass boy babysitter
named Corey watches a little kid named Jeremy who's been pissing his bed ever since the Myers thing last year.
He's been wetting the bed at night.
This is also the reason that I've been pissing my bed.
You just drank pee, man.
His parents are presumably attending the Haddonfield Parental Sexathon 2019, but it's fine because Corey has a pinky ring and he loves chocolate milk. Unfortunately, he's outwitted by Jeremy and locked in the attic. Jeremy
seemed a harmless little. Let me out of here.
But Corey gets back at him by.
What was that?
Fatality.
That'll teach him to play spooky games with chocolate milk drinking pinky rings. That's how leftists get our kids. What do you think CRT stands for? Chocolate milk, pinky rings, Tyrannosaurus?
Suspicions based on movement.
A lot of people just don't want race to be discussed in their schools.
I'm worried that they're gonna get me now, because I've cracked the code. And here's a title sequence that's half Halloween and half Alex Garland's Men with pumpkins birthing pumpkins.
What?
In an endless metaphor for drinking too many pumpkin spice lattes, I think.
It's a pumpkin-y swirl onto a beautiful, beautiful...
Fast forward another 3 years and Myers hasn't been seen in quite a while. Laurie's bought a cute, defenseless house where she knits and writes and shit while living with Allison, who is now a nurse.
I say, if it's not sexy, it's not Halloween.
Laurie also sucks ass at making pies.
Oh, it's my pie.
You better enjoy it. It's...
Oh.
She spends the majority of her non-pie time balancing flirty advances from Hawkins.
Wouldn't mind bending her over a barrel and showing her the 50 states, right?
That just sounds disgusting.
And mean insults from mean townspeople.
I like your hair.
Who blame her for the Myers attacks because she egged him on with her slutty sweaters or something.
I guess everyone's entitled to one good sweater.
Yum. I don't know why I did that.
Well, I like to mix meats and make
pie. Corey babysitter is apparently not in jail because, let's be honest, Jeremy had it coming.
You suck at babysitting.
And Corey now works at a scrapyard owned by his kindly stepfather. Unfortunately, Corey was still convicted in the court of these weird teens' public opinion.
We're seniors, okay?
And they mock him until he fucking obliterates another chocolate milk with his angry hands.
So where's your next victim?
Lori shows up and is like, hey.
So do you want to do it?
Why don't we pop those kids' tires? So they do. And she brings him to the hospital to have a meet cute with her granddaughter, who is unsettlingly into it. She's like, meow. Let me pull the glass out of your hand and maybe suck it.
I'm gonna be nice and numb it here so my assistant can clean it up really well.
Corey himself pops a boner so hard he flips a table.
Cute, isn't she?
You have a massive erection.
What do you think? You like my exquisite erection?
Allison asks him on a date and says what I say to Dave whenever he has another accident.
You have on your back.
Sorry.
It feels like Corey says no to the date.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
But the next day he gives her a sexy motorcycle lesson.
It's all
Get off of me! Ah, sorry.
And then they go to a party together, so I guess he said yes? Yeah. Gen Z boys are so coquettish. He probably Snapchatted her his dick or something between scenes.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
The party is going great until, oops, Jeremy's mommy shows up and accosts him like, hey, you suck for killing my son.
It kills me, you understand.
And I guess that ends the date, despite Allison's best attempt to awkwardly kind of open palm gesture at Corey like she's receiving the benediction at the end of a Presbyterian church service. He walks away, only to be immediately accosted by the dick teens who throw him off a bridge. But like, what is this, the 80s?
Okay, I take it back.
Also, dude, they're children.
We're seniors, okay?
Pull some adult on them, like threaten to lower their future earning potential or raise the global temperature past the point of no return. That's what my parents' generation did to me, and it makes me want to throw myself off a bridge.
Don't do it, Josh. You're gonna shoot me if I shoot myself? That doesn't make any sense!
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Corey's unconscious body is dragged into a sewer where he meets a throat-grabby Myers.
Hello.
But before ultimately escaping and stabbing an old homeless man. You know, just to get his head straight. You know, some people drink coffee or go for a morning run, but Corey stabs homeless people, and I see you being judgmental, Dave, but it works. It gives you that juice that you need to get going.
I love it. I love this time of year. I love...
Don't act like you don't do worse things. Oh! Corey heads home to freak out in the mirror for a bit.
I'm gonna pop off a piece of my dick.
Before heading to Allison's house to freak out Lori and ask Allison on a walk.
If you could just take a walk with me.
They break into Jeremy's old house for a minute to just look at the spot where he killed that child.
Just wanted it to be a fun night.
Before channeling all that thrilling romantic energy into a diner date where they're accosted by Allison's ex. Man, Corey always be accosting.
Twice in 1 week. Pretty cool.
Why'd they accost Corey? No. Allison and Corey do a badass no-helmet motorcycle ride and then double badass make out. And then not as badass, Corey leaves alone and is followed by the ex-boyfriend. And Corey lures the ex into the Myers sewer.
Hiya, Georgie.
Hey! And double teams him with Myers, because I guess they're friends now.
Do you want to see something super cool that only 3 people have ever seen in their lifetimes?
What? Did we just become best friends?
Yup! And initially Myers seems shitty and weak, but after he kills the ex, he seems to get a little bit of his juice back. I'm telling you, the shit's effective.
Yup!
And Corey takes his juicidness back to Allison and takes her upstairs for something. We don't see it. And it's interesting that these movies have massively upped the gore, but completely eliminated the nudity. How can you tell a movie is made by Americans without saying it's made by Americans? Anyway, Lori watches them while Myers watches her, and I watch Myers, and none of us watch movies.
You talk to me like I'm not even here.
Dang it. The closest we get is Allison's coworker preparing to hook up with her mutual boss, who she still calls
Dr. Mathis.
But their impending nudity is thwarted by another Myers-Corey double kill special.
Whoa.
This is turning into a surprisingly touching story of friendship found in the unlikeliest of sewers. I love their relationship. They don't even have to speak, they just get each other. It's like me and Dave, and how we're always sneaking out at night from our shared sewer bed to chop up carrots for salads. You gotta stay healthy. Let's just cut this part, editor. It's me. I'm the editor. What? Corey does these murders to help out Allison, who was recently passed over for a promotion. And let me just say, Dave, you should get somebody as special as a person willing to murder on your behalf.
I hope you find love.
Who's willing to murder your boss without even asking? Ah, that's how you know they're the one.
I believe in love at first sight.
Anyway, now it's Halloween. Corey's sleeping on his favorite dead Jeremy spot, but wakes up to find Lori, who's like, dude, I've seen evil Michael Myers stuff going on in your eyes, and I want you to leave Allison alone. And he's like, nah, dog, I'm trying to get that. What's that?
Are you?
She's like, I respect that.
We're both up.
She leaves out the window. Corey has a spat with his sewer buddy. You got something I need. And he steals the big guy's mask, which definitely goes against bro code. Sewer bro code, at least.
I'm not supposed to take stuff from strangers.
Oh. He lures the mean bridge teens to his stepfather's scrapyard and immediately stabs one in the eye. Oh my God! Runs over one with a truck. Beats one to death with a wrench. Allows his, let's say, not particularly physically threatening stepfather to get accidentally shot. Blowtorches the final teen boy. Stabs his own mom. Murders the rock radio DJ's receptionist. And then murders the DJ himself. And yet during that entire time, there are no boobies. What a cursed country we live in.
The American dream is dead.
I don't even want to be around anymore.
You can do this. I'm telling you I can't. I'm so hot.
Just kidding. Honestly, random nudity in horror movies is actually way more unsettling to me than violence. At least with a real movie, a sex scene potentially adds to the plot, or at least my crotch. Should I put that in there? Maybe not. At least with a real movie, a sex scene potentially adds to the plot or the characterization or something, but in a horror movie, you're usually just sitting there with 100 other weirdos in a theater being like, ha, ooh, cool boobies. Sweet, so happy to be here with you all sharing this intimate moment. What are those, like C's? Maybe they're D's. I love it, I love you all. I'm not sweating hard. Popcorn, anyone?
I don't even want to be around anymore.
Anyway, during Corey's rampage, Allison was waiting for him to show up for a date, and when he never shows, she goes looking for him. She heads towards her house while Lori pulls out a gun from a safe and calls 911 to report her own suicide.
I would like to report a suicide.
But it's not her head that she blows. Bunch of pumpkins. It was a ruse.
Call you back, 1930s.
Corey had snuck in, and Lori shoots him off her balcony.
I'm still alive, but I'm very badly injured. I think my legs might be broken, but I'll try to stand up.
And a bit of murderous poetry. So much poetry in these films. But when she heads down to talk to him, Corey stabs himself in the neck.
I'm going to kill myself over this!
Right as Allison walks in, Lori's like, I didn't do shit. I didn't do this.
I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about any of this.
But Allison is like, God, Lori, you're always murdering shit and wearing such tight sweaters. Yeah! And she runs away.
I am officially...
But of course, then Corey's little buddy shows up and finishes their spat and takes his mask back.
Mine.
And Myers and Lori tussle for a while.
2 hours later.
Eventually, Lori knifes Myers to her island, and she pulls off his mask and decides, definitely, okay, this is just a guy, I think. I mean, I guess.
Do we proceed? Yes, he is still only human.
And I'm glad that we know that now, after 50 discussions about how he's anything but just a guy. And Lori slices little man meat parts off of the man.
I thought maybe you were
John C.
Allison, meanwhile, sees the radio station burning and determines that that means that Corey was actually maybe not a nice boy, so she drives back to the house and saves Lori at the last second when Myers reaches up and tries to give her the old chokey. No! The cops show up and they strap Myers' body to the top of a sedan, bring him to the scrapyard along with the entire town, and huck his body in an industrial grinder thing. Then Allison leaves town, and Hawkins and Lori flirt about maybe going to Japan someday.
What was it you were saying about
fixed meat?
At the end, Halloween has ended. We did it!
The mysteries were put to bed.
All right, yeah, let's just reboot the whole thing. Start completely over.
Dude, no, God.
You have to. We have to understand. And your insurance said that they would pay for an extended session, so yeah, we're gonna throw you in the Terminator basement, and I really want you to focus on asking personal questions of Dave during your role play.
So, how's your relationship with your mom? Oh, God.
I'm still upset about the whole bagel thing this morning, if you want to know the truth.
Well, if we're gonna reboot the whole thing, why not begin with a quote from a character we don't even technically know yet and who is apparently an idiot? Oh, is that the darkest of souls? Thanks for letting me know, Loomis. Whatever, butt riff. Haddonfield.
Haddonfield.
Clown who is child Michael Myers grinning at rats. A few scenes of a Marriage Story that I don't like.
Oh, what's the matter? You jealous of your own daughter's ass, huh?
The couple's gross daughter, Judith, who I hate.
Elvis.
Lord have mercy.
And then cut to Junie from Spy Kids, who, side note, has 2 children with his wife, Meghan Trainor, of all people.
Because you know I'm all about that
pussy, dude. And actually, I want to die already. We're 5 minutes into the movie, and it's apparently 2 hours long, and I don't want to do this. Please don't make me do this. But no. As Dave said when I tried to stop him from flashing strangers in the park, the show must go on.
I heard they had to pump the cum.
You're insane. And the principal breaks up the fight and calls in Myers' literal stripper of a mom. And initially she's mad, but the principal calls in a fly-ass, droog-looking, rebooted Dr. Loomis sporting shades and long hair and just an overall rad vibe to say, nah, babe, chill with your uncool shit.
Has your son ever had any kind of serious psychiatric evaluation?
Your son has been butchering animals for fun. And she's like, well, that's wacky. But at least he has a future working in the kitchen at Arby's. And Myers escapes the principal's office to go beat Junie to death with a stick in the woods.
He was injured man.
Do you think God stays in heaven because of this movie specifically?
Why do they despise me so?
Hard to say, but later that night, that Halloween night, Myers' mommy has another shift at the stripper store, so Michael hangs out with his dad. Let me tell you, the acting, the script, it's Oscar bait, dripping with nuance and symbolism. But the scene is interrupted by Judith's boyfriend coming over to bang Judith.
Sorry, squirt.
We got a squirter!
Utilizing just his incredible foreplay prowess. Because as we all know, there's nothing sexier than William Shatner, because yes, the mask is supposed to be Captain Kirk's face. The more you know, the more you can integrate into your foreplay, Dave. You're welcome.
She's squirting!
Mike returns home after a sad evening of solo trick-or-treating, and man, no matter what happens in this series, there is always a scene of somebody watching a classic horror movie on the TV. How many more reboots until they start watching my YouTube recaps on their TVs? Like maybe this recap, but no, he's not watching this video, so obviously he gets bored and murders his stepdad. See? My videos save actual lives, and also Dave's love life with the foreplay tips. He's gonna throw on that mask, and everybody's gonna be squirting.
We got a squirter!
The boyfriend comes downstairs to make a sandwich, I guess, so Myers brains him with a baseball bat. And then he puts on the boyfriend's mask to try and use Dave's foreplay tip, and he caresses his sister's leg, which actually goes okay. Until she realizes how short and related to her he is, which is like her second biggest turnoff right after being stabbed.
Once a night is enough.
And then she slapped
Michael!
And he stabbed. But fortunately, he likes the baby, and he takes it outside to wait for his mom to come home and lap dance him to sleep or whatever she does every night. I've never had a stripper mom. I don't know. How does your mom get you to sleep? Sorry, she's a nice lady. I should stop.
Somebody around here's got to make some money.
But then the cops show up, and the mom's all upset. It becomes like this whole thing. They throw Myers in, and Loomis is his official full-time doctor now. Fun!
Hi, I'm Michael Myers.
Okay, that's fine.
Myers doesn't remember killing anybody, apparently.
You remember nothing about getting a knife?
I didn't do that.
I didn't do this!
Oh, okay.
But the longer he's there, the more he gets into DIY masks.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. Yeah.
He gets kind of obsessed, and he wears them all the time.
Oh my God, I don't even look like myself.
And despite all this, a nurse comes in to watch him one day, sits across from him, but whole ass turns her back to him, which of course causes Myers to murder her. Like, at that point, I don't even blame him. I'd probably do the same thing. Dave has done the same thing. I bet I could defend Mike in court over this. It's like clear entrapment.
It's entrapment.
She wanted to die. But this is all too much for Myers' mom. So she shoots herself, even though there's a baby still in the house. Myers has grown to be just the biggest Lebowski.
Nobody calls me Lebowski. You got the wrong guy.
And has every single mask ever. Call him Jim Carrey, he's so the mask.
Metaphorically speaking.
Loomis this whole time has failed to get through to Myers despite offering up such witticisms as, yo, I've been working for you like
twice as long as my first marriage.
Lol, but yeah, also I need to give up because I clearly suck at this.
In a weird way, you've become like
John Cena! So Loomis goes off and writes a book on Myers, which is the much more financially savvy play, right? Or is it? Getting paid to talk to a guy who doesn't talk back sort of sounds like my relationship with all of you. Maybe I'll write a book about you someday. I know that most of my fans are serial killers.
It just shows you how f***ed up my life is.
Back at the sanitarium, two guards who have written probably 0 books molest a female patient and then sexually assault her in Myers' room while he is otherwise unrestrained. Did I mention that I hate this movie? What is this edgelord bullshit? It doesn't even make any sense.
I'll f her. You don't want to f her? I'll f her. And the Oscar goes to...
Why would they do that in front of him? He's so big.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like, your opinion, man.
And Myers agrees, and he kills them, and also this person, and these 2 people, and Machete, and after he escapes, this guy who's looking at porn in a truck stop bathroom.
Come on!
This is good. This is a good movie.
I'm Joe Grizzly, bitch.
Then Loomis gets a call that, yeah, Myers has escaped. And I wish he'd come here and kill me! But Loomis heads to his old stomping grounds to discuss this with the apparently German guy in charge, and as always, the dialogue just crackles.
It must be great living in denial. I must try it sometime.
And then Loomis buys a gun, which is pointless, but, you know, you gotta try.
If you could just wrap it up, that'd be great. Thank you.
What are we hunting?
Okay, now we finally arrived at more or less the beginning of the movie we saw so long ago.
Haddonfield!
Except our new Laurie is also disgusting.
Mr. Nichols touched me the wrong way.
And why shouldn't she be? Laurie! Hey, look, it's Tommy, but from the Righteous Gemstones.
That guy's a living legend.
And oh, Myers is already back at his old house and ripping up the floorboards to grab his trusty knife and Star Trek mask. And, you know, you can tell that Myers is still a little off mentally because he smells the mail.
Still warm.
Oh, and he's murdered half a dozen people. But who smells their mail?
I don't know.
Doesn't he know that mail carriers intentionally fart on the mail? Check out my future 15-part YouTube series about why we should defund the USPS. Just kidding. Do you know my dad makes stamps? Google Greg breeding stamps. It's not even a bit. I just think it's cool. He did a big Yoda one. Well, it's only big in my room. It's stamp-sized everywhere else.
You have your dad wrapped around your little finger.
Totally.
At school, Reboot Annie tries to convince Laurie to babysit the kid that she's babysitting, Lindsay, so that she can babysit her boyfriend, Schlong. And she says okay, because that's what friends do, Dave.
What are you, Mother Teresa?
No.
They also vapidly talk about sex while they walk.
You're totally a slut.
Yeah. I'm a very sexy baby.
Unlike me, I talk about art while I walk. Waiting for Godot, the viability of Mars flights, adult things.
Why don't you go crawl back under your f***ing rock?
Sorry, I guess.
I'm still upset about the whole bagel thing this morning, if you want to know the truth.
Let's pause for a second for the film's one and only inexplicable chapter title card. Oh, right. Laurie has a third friend named Sexy Cheerleader, named after her grandmother.
Hey, freak! Hey, freak, you want some of the young stuff? You like that? Well, come and get it!
Who sneaks into the Myers house to have sex with her boyfriend. After he fails to pleasure her,
I'm sorry.
because he didn't have a nice enough mask, I guess, he runs out to grab a beer from a cooler in his van because I guess he totally forgot that coolers are portable. But he didn't forget his fun bedsheet ghost outfit, but he did again forget to not get murdered by Myers.
little warning would be nice.
To prove he's not all doom and gloom and murder, Myers not only dons the bedsheet, but he kind of like flirtily offers sexy cheerleader a beer, but like forces her to get up to grab it from him. And she does this with full frontal nudity, which is very European of her. But then Myers murders her like a patriot and carries her body somewhere while the Star-Spangled Banner plays, maybe. Loomis, for his part, tries to convince Cop Daddy that Myers is both bad and like the proverbial train. A comment.
She'll be coming round the mountain when she
come.
But he's skeptical until he calls the Strodes, who, spoiler alert, have been murdered. I love all the little tweaks added in this reboot. And by tweaks, I mean extra boobs and gory murders.
Today we'd make a scene that's very happy. Beautiful little scene with a lot of color in it. There we go. Let's paint several
big ass titties.
This gives Cop Daddy the freedom to say, all right, fine. So yes, I grabbed the Myers baby from the suicide scene, took her to the hospital, and then learned that she was adopted by the Strodes all those years ago. And Loomis is like, I knew it.
He's found her, for God's sake.
He's probably trying to get to her to do something. He's not sure, but he is a man of science, so he'll find out.
You have to stop thinking that we're dealing with a normal man here.
Lori babysits Tommy and also Lindsay Wallace, and Annie is like, just so you know, Ben Tramer is hot, even though...
Ah, they said Ben Tramer was retarded.
Yeah, but he's not short bus retarded or anything.
The best screenplays to read are just as alive as the films that they eventually become.
But that's just how kids in a Rob Zombie movie talk, I guess. And the newer, hornier, more offensive Lori is much more into it.
All right, you're right.
Well, what would it be like today? A frightened retard?
Oh my God, Jenny, no! He isn't! They were just saying that because they're ass. Go back to your franchise! You were uninvited from this video, you potty-mouthed vampire! But okay, whatever.
I need a boyfriend.
Now Annie and her boyfriend hook up and Myers attacks them, pulling Paul, which is the boyfriend's name, off Annie.
The scientific name is epididymal hypertension.
And letting her run around topless until... And around this time, Lori decides to take Lindsay home, leaving Tommy.
Behave, Tommy, mommy.
But when she opens the door, Annie's boyfriend is giving major Ichabod Crane.
What's his name?
Ichabod. Ichabod Crane.
Yes, I know that technically it's the Headless Horseman, but I prefer saying Ichabod. It's like Frankenstein versus Frankenstein's monster. You get it.
It's pronounced Frankenstein.
And speaking of getting it, here's Annie. Still alive, still topless, still covered in blood. Lori calls 911, but is pretty immediately herself accosted by the man, the myth, the brother himself. She gets away. And Lamson screams straight to Tommy's house because I guess she's fully aware of the futility of trying any other homes, what with the parental party, you know, still presumably going on.
Okay, Mrs. Wallace is a lush. They're gonna be out all night getting hammered.
Abraham Lincoln actually got hammered in the ass so much that he died of being hammered in the ass.
And Lindsay is already there, and the three of them go hide in the bathtub? Smart. Myers seems very dirty, probably terrified of bathtubs. And maybe it's bulletproof in case he tries to shoot them for some reason.
He didn't.
Weirdly, a cop actually shows up first, even though, is there a reason for them to check this house specifically? Like, she called in Lindsay's address, right? I don't know, but it doesn't matter. And also another cop dies. And Myers finally drags Lori until she fully faints, I guess, and he's able to carry her. And then the kids tell Loomis where that sneaky old Michael Myers is off to, and he literally runs off.
I believe God made me for a purpose, but he also made me fast. When I run, I feel his pleasure.
Lori wakes up sitting near her naked, sexy cheerleader friend who's been placed in front of a stolen Judith Myers headstone. She seems to be sleeping
Wake up!
very hard.
No, wake up!
Myers walks in and shows Lori a picture of the two of them when she was a baby, and he removes his mask, and she's like, that's sweet. Stab!
You mother...
Way to not read the room, Lori. This obviously pisses Myers off while also giving me an idea for my next family slideshow event. And he puts back on his mask and picks the knife up, and I guess he starts chasing her, but God, it looks like shit. Like dark, opaque shit. I have no idea what the hell is going on, but my guess is that he's chasing her with an intent one could only describe as murderous. Either that or the White Walkers are assaulting Winterfell.
I don't know how to use it.
Is sticking with the pointy end.
Eventually, Laurie falls into what I think is an empty swimming pool, which is super fortunate because it means that Tony Hawk's probably gonna come save her. Whoa! Brutal. Ah, but no, it's just Dr. Loomis politely asking for Myers to please stop murdering Laurie.
Please stop!
And when that doesn't work, he rule of threes Myers with bullets.
Please stop! Michael!
We get a fun Where's Waldo, but like if he was a serial killer shot. And oh look, the movie's over. See you all next time. Just kidding, you stupid idiots! This is a reboot with extra mayhem. What the hell? Myers beats up Loomis and drags him into the house, and Myers has no idea where Laurie is, though, and he's just out here punching completely the wrong shit. Giving Laurie a chance to grab Loomis' gun, and giving Loomis a chance to impotently grab Myers' leg like a flu-stricken 4-year-old trying to stop her dad from getting his 5th beer of the night while writing a YouTube video script about the worst movie he's seen in a long time. I'll play with you later, kid! Laurie ends up in the ceiling somehow, and let's start a ceiling stab counter. You'd think we'd get the point after the first dozen, but no, this is a reboot. Eventually, Laurie falls through the ceiling for seemingly unrelated reasons. And then Myers Terry Tate office linebackers her out the window, knocking himself unconscious.
You know you need a cover sheet on your TPS reports, Richard!
The gun seems to be out of bullets, but then it is not.
This better not be a ruse.
And Laurie screams a lot, and it's a little like, we get it. You had a rough night. Everybody has rough nights, Laurie. For example, me right now doing this. I'm
That's all that does is cry.
Dude, so just straight up, are you forcing me to watch these? Are you evil?
No.
Keep going. He's about to crack.
I do not think that's true.
I'm a chick dressing up as a dude who wants to be a chick.
Obviously, because the last movie was so great. They went ahead and greenlit a sequel, but don't worry, this one is much worse.
Heard a story about a couple of meat wagon boys. Corpses.
As evidenced by this random quote about a white horse that they just made up for this movie and subsequently means less than nothing.
Oh, hey, whoa, come on.
Like, if you're gonna make up a BS quote for a movie, help yourself out by making the quote something like, this movie is like a good movie, Dr. Loomis.
It's just quite an oxymoron, my dear.
Young Myers has been recast, but it's the same mom, which makes sense because she's married to the director of this movie and presumably she's being held hostage and also maybe she's a real life stripper. I don't know. She gives Mikey a white horse figurine because that's called a metaphor.
That's a metaphor.
Fast forward back to the night of the last movie, and Cop Daddy pulls up to a wandering, bloody Laurie who is like, I killed him. Wah, I'm so sad. Wah.
Katie, it's okay.
It's like, get over it. She's still freaking out when they put her on a hospital gurney to take her to the hospital, and it does not please me to inform you that this movie is already even more disgusting than the last one.
Ready?
Look, I've seen every single Saw movie. This isn't my first rodeo.
Oh, what a big tootsie.
But those movies are usually like 85 minutes long, or at least kind of sort of telling some sort of interesting story.
This little piggy had roast beef. This little piggy had none. This little piggy went wee.
This is a full 2 hours of how can we make Jordan as sad and as uncomfortable as possible.
I got wood just zip-locking her up.
Stop. Shut up.
If it wasn't for all the nudity, I'd probably just name this reboot Jordan's Teenage Years.
No kidding.
A couple of corpse delivery guys discuss the ethics of having sex with a dead body with such poetic form, I wouldn't be surprised if it was written in iambic pentameter.
Oh, Hamlet, 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 Hamlet. The vampire army has taken the city.
What's the difference between jam and jelly? I don't know. What? You can't jelly your up a dead girl's ass.
What is this shit? But the Shakespearean repartee is cut short by an interrupting
Cow!
What?
Cow!
This kills one of them and wakes the assumed dead Myers in the back up. And he is not the body that they wanted to have sex with. Maybe.
I never had the urge till tonight.
Oh, there were a couple of bodies back there. One for each of them.
We do everything together.
He gets up and kills the other corpse guy and has a vision of his white mommy with a life-sized white horse. This is known as an extended and also stupid metaphor. There's so much English, Major, in this movie. Yes.
That's disgusting. Stop it.
Lori wakes up in her hospital bed and hobbles down the hallway to see Annie, who is looking rough.
Oh, baby.
And then she's walked about halfway back to her room by a nurse who then leaves.
I believe God made me for a purpose, but he also made me fast.
But immediately returns, but like slashed.
I'll be back.
Looks like she could use some The Help 2011.
Eat my shit.
Turns out she's been attacked by, get this, Michael Myers? But I thought he was dead and or in a sex van somewhere getting plowed. But I guess I'm wrong. What a big dumb goof I am.
I need something for my head.
Lori ED 209's down some stairs and falls in a standard issue hospital corpse pit.
I'll get someone to fish him out of the corpse pit.
Before eventually ending up in a guard shack where a friendly guard named Bob or some
My name is Buddy.
totally gets murdered.
Bob, no!
My name is Buddy.
While Myers hears his way into the room while the camera does its absolute best Jason Bourne. Must have hired the same blackout drunk camera guy. Oh, just kidding, it was all a dream and it's 2 years later, Myers is still dead. Don't worry, Dave.
He's f***ing dead.
We haven't yet begun to watch the trash film that Mr. Robert Zombie has built for us. That was just the preamble, the chorus, Act 1, some shit. I don't know. It's been a while since I took an English class. I did major in it, but not in that part. More in the part where you just read Slaughterhouse-Five and you're like, oh, that's f***ed up. We should stop doing wars.
This country has been under the military-industrial complexes. Right on, sister.
Lori now lives with the Brackets and has a tramp stamp and works at a store, like maybe a record store, owned by a guy literally named Uncle Meat.
You're really interested, I know.
So yeah, I guess you could say things are going great.
Hells yeah.
She and Annie fight a lot though because Lori has a little trauma from the attack and Annie doesn't.
Boo f***ing who for you?
See? You don't f***ing care.
Like, for the whole movie, they're fighting, and Lori's all like, you don't even get it. And Annie is like, I do get it. And not that it's a contest, but Annie was way more messed up than Lori. Why would this be such a central conflict of the script? Shouldn't Lori have beef with somebody who didn't experience the exact same event in basically the exact same way, except more naked and bloody? Come on.
I get it.
Maybe her therapist can help.
Let's try and help your brain heal a little bit today, okay?
Actually, no, she can't because she, well...
Finish that thought, it's really important.
Fine, she sucks, okay? Is that what you wanted me to say? I'm so ashamed that I said it out loud.
And there's something in my body that snaps.
Lori does tell her therapist that seeing Annie's scars reminds her of the attack.
She's a constant reminder.
Which makes her sad, but still not mind it. Annie sees your scars, Lori, and she seems totally Tony. Loomis has a new book coming out, and his whole B-plot that has basically no bearing on the rest of the movie involves his inexplicable transformation into a complete dickbag capitalist.
And I don't mean that in the lesbian sense.
Who exploits the tragic events of the last movie to sell a book.
You are quite an odd one, aren't you?
He's unbelievably flippant about the whole ordeal, as if he himself didn't almost die. He yells at uppity journalists.
Now, do you brain-dead gossip mongers want me to spell that out for you?
Waves off an assassination attempt by the sexy cheerleader's dad.
You son of a bitch! Why did I kill you, Loomis? Part of the job, I suppose.
It gets pissy on a Chris Hardwick show.
Actually, I take great issue with that statement.
That has Weird Al as a guest for some reason.
How do you even respond to that criticism?
Well, you know, I think that's completely unfounded.
I guess this is proof that saw traps would not work. I mean, this dude's near-death experience transformed him from a once caring doctor to a money-obsessed shock author.
Okay, I am all for selling books, all right? God knows I've done some things that I'm not proud of. This is disgusting.
And I don't mean that in the lesbian sense.
I do appreciate a little speech he gives at one point where he rolls into an auditorium and is like, as you all know, as we all agree, we want to have sex with our moms and kill our dads. Any questions?
So, it is the fate of all of us to direct our first sexual impulses towards our mothers. And our first murderous hatred against our fathers. Well, has anybody got any questions at all?
He just says that like it's fact.
Like, no shit.
Yeah,
everybody does.
Why are you saying things we already know? People's hands go up and he's like,
For what? What? Why would you ask a question? I've covered everything. My book is about how Myers wants to have sex with his mom and kill his daddy.
Give it to my mom. With a little Loomis twist at the end.
Mr. Robert apparently had no ideas for Loomis' character this go-around, which is presumably why he doesn't really factor into the plot until the last 10 minutes of the movie. Spoiler alert! Speaking of ideas that come from nowhere and mean nothing...
Well,
another fun, pointless B-plot involves Myers constantly seeing his white mommy and also himself as a kid in several random cutaway dream sequences, just so that we know this is like an art movie. A movie for fancy people who like metaphors and iambic pentameter. I guess someone told Mr. Zombie that elevated horror isn't just trying to scare audiences and give them erections at the same time. You also gotta put a horse in it. Art, the theater, horses.
Freud would certainly have a field day with that little one, wouldn't he?
3 random people drive up to Myers in a cornfield and smack him with bats and stuff, and then they get killed by Myers. It's hardier than it sounds, okay?
Bullshit. Derivative. You stupid. That I love. I absolutely love.
And all that flowing creativity makes Myers hungry, though, so he eats a damn dog.
Whopper, whopper, whopper.
Because the big guy needs protein. What else is he gotta eat? All this corn? No! Do you know how many carbs are in that? You people are monsters for even suggesting that. Halloween-ing! Laurie prepares for Halloween by imagining herself murdering Annie like Mikey murdered his stepdad, but not so straightforwardly because she also has a bunch of weird visions and seems possessed. And oh look! Frankenstein's monster. Fun! Laurie politely asks her therapist for more drugs because that's real, man. Life is hard.
Look, I just need you to prescribe me something, please.
You gotta get drugs in you or you're gonna feel all the weight of living.
According to my notes, you should have a lot of medication.
I don't. I'm out.
Uh-oh. 2 guys who work at the strip club that Mommy Myers used to rock, well, they're having a spat.
Take out the trash, Howard.
He's good at taking out the trash.
One goes outside and gets murdered by Myers. But then Myers comes inside and murders the other guy and also a full frontal stripper. This happens because Rob Zombie spent 3 weeks staring at a blank page trying to imagine how to add a few more deaths and boobies and eventually came up with the perfect solution. A strip club attack! How has nobody ever thought of that before? Dave's always attacking people in Arby's, but it's like, my guy, nobody is naked except you big goober.
I got a delicious beef and cheddar for you, and boom!
Now it's Halloween proper. And Cop Daddy is pissed because I guess somebody's forcing him to read a book.
Take a look, it's in a book.
I get it. Oh, wait. No, it's Dr. Loomis' new book, and it probably says something about Laurie because he calls Annie trying to get in contact with Laurie, but Laurie unfortunately doesn't have a cell phone in 2009. I mean, can you imagine not having access to Snake? Ugh, but he's too late, and Laurie also hates the book.
I mean, do please feel free to voice your opinion.
And Laurie sort of runs away to her work friend's house and reveals that the book claims that her name is actually Angel Myers. And yeah, she's Mike's sister, and that horrific news makes her want to party!
I know you like to party, but the party never stops.
Fun fact, when Dave discovered that he was related to Ted Bundy, he actually went skydiving.
Ghastly injuries, smashed in faces, broken jaws.
She grabs her friend who is a
chick dressing up as a dude who wants to be a chick.
And her other friend who is not that.
Not really.
And they go to a crazy party full of just so many exposed fake breasts. You know, a good party.
Morpheus! What can
can we expect at this orgy?
Big ass titties!
Side note, of all the weird choices in this movie, the fact that Myers' whole ass face is just out half the time is one of the strangest. You get 50 minutes of the last movie explaining that Myers really cares about wearing masks, but now he's all like, oh, I can't breathe, it's bad for my health actually. Forcing me to wear a mask is fascism actually.
Alright dude, even I wouldn't touch that joke.
The transsexual wannabe friend tries to hook up with a trans species wannabe wolfman.
Ladies seem to like him.
But he gets killed while pissing, and she gets killed while not pissing, which covers the entire spectrum of ways you could get killed. And this movie captures that beautiful duality beautifully.
I mean, it's symbiotic. No?
Lori and the other friend go back to Lori's house because she's presumably seen enough boobs to last her until next Halloween.
I so want to go back in, and I want to... No!
Speaking of, Cop Daddy assigns a cop to guard Annie while he continues to search for cell phone-less Lori, but unfortunately that cop dies. And also Annie is attacked. Because like poetry, these movies rhyme. She was attacked before, she's attacked again. Iambic pentameter.
It's everything.
Lori shows up at the house and is like, hey, would you like some tea? Oh, shit, Annie's dead.
Annie?
Just kidding. She's only bloody and naked and barely breathing for the second time in as many poetic movies. God! I love these films. I'm not gonna lie, there's too much blood in the bathroom for her to be breathing. That's just, you don't have that much blood. You can't have that much blood. Dave doesn't have nearly that much blood, and he's much bigger than Annie. We've tested it. And Lori walks up and is like, okay, but I had a rough night too. I want to tell you about what's been going on in my life. She's... okay. I can't believe you're making this all about you again, Annie. Get up! Put that blood back in you.
You know what, Annie? I don't need your shit.
Lori gets her other work friend to call 911 and also get murdered by Myers so that she can stay with Annie and awkwardly call her baby 25 times until she fully dies.
Baby, hold on, baby. Please, baby. No, baby. Baby, stay with me, baby.
We babies are having a crisis.
Don't leave me, baby.
Then Lori runs off into the woods and flags down a car driven by a guy who's immediately killed. Then Myers' mama lifts the car up and flips Lori over into a ditch.
1, 2.
Then he drags her out and the car explodes and he walks into a different part of the woods, followed by White Mommy and baby Mikey. Cop Daddy's informed his house has been attacked, so he rushes over there and is like,
where is she?
But in reality...
Jeff, you don't want to go in there.
You don't want it.
I think I kind of want it.
Okay, but just this once.
Oh, no! Powerful stuff.
No!
Is that the guy who voices Patrick Star? M-O-O-N! That spells massacre!
M-O-O-N! That spells deaf and dumb. Want me to handle it? No.
Lori comes to and can see White Mommy and whoops! Also, they're surrounded by cops and a helicopter. Loomis sees this on the news and rushes over, gets punched by sad Cop Daddy, and then runs right into the random building that the Myers family's hanging out in, only to see Lori freaking out on the floor by herself, just imagining the mom and baby Myers. Uh-oh. Does that mean that she's crazy? Stop it! Stop! And then Myers Terry Tates Loomis through a wall, completely unmasked, and even, he verbally says, die. Die! Really? That's the line you're going with, after decades of him being silent. Not even, die, you big fat butthole, or I didn't really care for A Clockwork Orange. Speaking of movies that make me uncomfortable.
Well, I want you to lick it.
Should have done like the Gettysburg Address, or, something.
Oh! Now you f***ed up!
He stabs Loomis, but then is shot 3,000 times by the cops in slow-mo. And he collapses like he's dead, and then Lori walks out looking all weird and picks up his knife, and some of the cops are like, whoa, I forgot, these movies are set in modern-ish America, and cops don't take any chances, and they just unload on her while whoever is playing the video game version of this pauses and switches over to photo mode.
Make good use of your tools to take shots that really stand out.
Then Love Hurts gets needle dropped, and we see Lori sitting at the end of a long white hallway as her white mom with a white horse walks towards her, and she half smiles because I guess she's full crazy now, because that's a metaphor. Full circle, suck it, poets of old.
You have f***ed up now.
All right, it's not working.
That's what I've been trying to tell you.
How about for the last few minutes, you just talk about whatever you want?
Like I don't have to talk about Michael Myers?
Yeah, I don't know. Why don't you just talk about evil Irish witch scientists and editor? Could you throw that photo of Dave topless up just so that the viewers stay engaged? Thanks. Oh, wow. Those were hot.
Wait a minute. How old are you?
For our final little riff here, we open with weird TV/computer screen opening credits that apparently combine to create a lo-fi pumpkin that's probably perfect for studying. Northern California, October 23rd. A man runs from a car.
Are you running? Are you not running? I am officially running.
And then into... But don't worry, he kills Fancy Pants by slowly rolling a car at him, like... slowly. Really so slowly. Then the man runs away and specifically 1 hour later ends up at a gas station and passes out. The person working there drives into a nearby hospital where we see that he's been clutching a pumpkin mask and an annoying mask company commercial wakes him up.
All new Fluffy Puff bite-sized nibblers are perfect for newborn-type babies and scalding hot chocolate.
And he mentions,
they're going to kill us.
We're dying. We're dying.
All of us.
Presumably he's referring to large corporate entities, and like, I agree, bud. Corporations are gonna kill us all. I already gave my kids the talk, and they did not take it well. Did I mention it? Did I mention that I have 3 kids? Because subscribe to my Patreon so I can afford their therapy bills.
We need money.
Elsewhere, this drunk Dr. Daddy is called in to work on Pumpkin Boy, but not before we see his ex-wife, who is Annie Brackett?
How you been?
I mean, it's not Annie Brackett.
Nice try.
But it's the same actress, cementing this as a timeline wholly separate from everything else.
Utterly fantastic.
Also, it's worth noting that his kids have some really dope-ass Halloween masks.
Halloween.
Anyway, at the hospital, another fancy man comes in and like breaks the pumpkin guy's nose to death.
He broke my nose.
It's not entirely clear what he's doing from a physiological sense, but it kills him.
It looks better than before.
And then the guy spends a weird amount of time trying to wipe the blood off his gloves. But like, that's the whole point of gloves, dude. A nurse sees him and screams, so he walks out into the parking lot and pours gasoline on himself. Which gives me a great idea for something to do later. I'm so tired of these movies. Hey, just wonder, do you have any like gasoline in a car?
Why are you asking?
Oh, no reason. Thought I'd cool myself down with some gasoline, maybe sit in the car. Do you have a lighter?
Killed himself in the parking lot. Drugs, probably.
Doc calls his ex-wife to let her know what happened while this fireman's wobbly hat wobbles precariously in the corner. He learns the pumpkin guy's pumpkin mask was from the Shamrock Company that's been blasting ads all over this movie.
4 days to Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
Speaking of blasting, Pumpkin Guy's hot daughter shows up to confirm the body, and Doc is like, meow, let me blast. Just kidding. Unless...
Gonna blast.
Bet.
A few days later, on the 27th, Doc talks to the coroner.
I'm only the assistant.
And she's like, this fancy guy had incredible arm strength.
You don't just pull someone's skull apart without a little lower arm strength, know what I mean?
And like, I guess I know what you mean. I mean, I don't know what you mean, but you say that like I should know what I mean, so I'd say that I do know what you mean.
Know what I mean?
And periodically throughout the film, Doc checks on her just to see if she has any more information on the killer, but she never does.
No promises.
Until like 5 seconds before her death, when she gets drilled in a bad way. It's now Halloween evening.
Punishment kindness for the horses.
And Doc hangs out at a bar watching cartoons. And they flip the channel to a trailer for the original Halloween movie to even further distance this film from the rest of the series.
What's the matter? Don't you have any Halloween spirit?
Hot daughter comes in and says that her name is Ellie.
I know.
And she's investigating her dad's weird death.
I know.
Do you want to help, Doc? And he's like, sure, if you let me blast. Just kidding. Unless...
One of the nurses told me I could you here.
No.
A bad liar.
And they go to Ellie's dad's novelty store and realize that he'd recently bought some of those weird masks from the Shamrock factory, which is located in an Irish factory town not too far away.
Oh.
They drive there, but the people do not seem very nice, and there are security cameras everywhere and a 6 o'clock curfew. It's like, what is this, my family reunion?
You, man.
They spend the night at a motel but pretend to be married to allay any suspicion, and also as a part of Doc's plan to blast.
That way at least we'd have some place to without the whole town watching us.
Good point.
Shower's good.
And while the Irish motel owner gets them set up,
It's cozy, it's magically delicious, it's quiet, and the shower's good.
Doc sneaks away to confirm that, yeah, Ellie's dad stayed here a few nights ago.
I believe God made me for a purpose. He also made me fast.
I don't know if he blasted, but if he did, it was in this very same hotel.
Shower's good.
Then an RV with an obnoxious family of 3 pulls in.
Buddy cup for San Diego. I gotta go.
Alongside a separate car with an obnoxious woman of 1.
Oh, sorry.
Doc walks into the room and is like,
This place is a zoo.
want a blast?
Let's take our time.
And she's like, hell yeah, Doc.
It's okay with you?
Oh, yeah.
So finally, they blast.
Breastfeeding is more than just about nutrition.
After she throws on like a negligee that she presumably keeps packed in her purse.
Light packers, aren't you?
Just in case of, blasting emergencies.
There's Mr. Cock.
Hello.
Post-blast, Doc grabs some alcohol from a nearby store, even though I thought there was a 6 o'clock curfew.
The code is more what you call guidelines.
And is immediately accosted by a homeless guy.
Whoa, Jesus.
Who bums a sip and is like, it sucks.
I ain't got no diseases.
The guy who owns the factory, named Cochran, well, he didn't hire any local people. Anyway, see you later. And he walks away to get his head literally popped completely off by 2 more evil fancy boys. Doc tries to get some sleep, but Ellie wants to blast again. And he's like,
Aren't you just the least bit tired?
And also,
how old are you?
And she's like, I'm not tired, and also I'm very old.
I'm older than I look.
I'm a very sexy baby.
And he's like, okay, well, I do enjoy a good blasting. In high school, they used to call me Blast Toys because I masturbated to Pokemon. I don't know why I brought that up. I'm sorry.
What is that?
Let's blast. How old are you? I don't care.
Who cares?
If I know, then I'm culpable. It is like the weirdest thing where he's like, how old are you? After we've had sex once, at least. He's like, I'm sleepy. And you're how old? Because if you say that you're younger than 18, I'm gonna go back to sleep. Yeah, it's like, if this is a sex crime, I'm just gonna go back to bed.
Our nips just touched.
Wait a minute.
And speaking of blasting, because all we've spoken about is blasting.
We've had a lot of practice.
The woman staying next door finds a piece of a mask that fell on the floor, and she dicks around with what appears to be a computer chip on the back, only to end up laser blasting herself in the face so hard that a bug crawls out of her face hole. That's a bad mask. You don't want that kind of mask.
That's correct, Wendy.
Instead of showing you what I'm talking about because it's gross, here's a just as gross old man ass, like a whole ass man ass right in the middle of this movie. Is the season of the witch a season of man asses? Because that's a bad season. I don't want to do that season. I got enough of my own man ass. I don't need more man asses. He drags his man ass outside to see a bunch of weird scientists or whatever from the factory gurneying away the woman with the face hole. They're like, she'll probably be fine, but I doubt it. He also meets factory owner Mr. Cochran, who is a certified friggin' weirdo.
Marvelous.
Now it's October 30th. Ellie and Assman ask an Irish secretary if her dad had been there, and she confirms, yep, he was here, and he picked up masks, and they're like, okay, but now I should transition back to their accent.
These people lost an order.
What the hell were they talking about?
Something crazy.
And before they can leave, the obnoxious family comes in.
Well,
And the dad is like, I'm the best mask salesman ever. And Cochran comes in and is like, you sure are, big guy.
Congratulations!
Want to tour the factory? And the salesman is like, sure, but can these 2 random people who are staying at my sexy motel come also? And Cochran's like,
oh. Yes, I was just about to ask them.
So they tour the factory, and it's still boring even after we learn that Cochran is like the Willy Wonka of practical jokes.
He invented sticky toilet paper.
How do you like it? Dark, white, nutty, absolutely insane.
Which is dumb anyway, because I'm pretty sure that Dave invented sticky toilet paper like a few minutes ago. Like, what was that, Dave? What's your process? How do you get that toilet paper to be so sticky? Can you just say it for the camera, please, so that we have it on record, just in case we want to patent it?
Lots of honey.
Nope, scratch that, reverse it.
Lots of
At the end of the tour, Ellie notices her dad's car sitting in a warehouse.
Oh my God!
But before she can go look at it, a bunch of fancy boys block her. So they've decided this town's bad.
Whoa.
Okay, I'm finished.
And they rush back to their motel, and Ellie packs while Doc tries unsuccessfully to make a phone call to the cops or maybe Pizza Hut. It's not clear.
This is an emergency. I want
original stuffed crust, just $12.99.
Sorry, we cannot complete your call.
And when he returns, Ellie is gone, and he's attacked by fancy boys that force him to escape out the back window. Doc then breaks into the factory and runs into a knitting lady that's been hidden behind some random door. And when he tries to ask her a question, he asks a little too rough. Where is she? Heads are falling off! Whoopsie! Looks like she's a sex robot. Been talking a little too much today.
Metaphorically speaking.
He's grabbed from behind by another robot, which he kills by punching its stomach and pulling out like a bunch of cables. And Cochran walks in and he's like, yeah.
Clumsy.
We built that knitting robot in like
1785.
So you've had realistic androids for 200 years, and so far their only application has been guarding a shitty toy factory and also, I guess, knitting?
I wanna get down.
I told you no!
The lack of imagination on display here is almost as big as this movie's lack of a Michael Myers. Yeah, in case you've been holding your breath waiting for him to show up and eat an android or wax philosophical in an Irish accent, just know it is never going to happen.
One gay bear for my gay friend, one normal bear for me because I am normal.
They just made this movie because, you know, why not make a movie? Call it Halloween.
The movies.
Hey, now it is Halloween. Fun!
Halloween morning.
Cochran takes Doc to some crazy basement lab that they've built around a huge chunk of imported Stonehenge, I guess. And they're chipping away at the Stonehenge.
Stonehenge.
So that they could get magical stone chips to put in computer chips to put in their masks, I guess. Seems like they could have gone with magic rock chunks or computer chips, but I guess the power of both combined is like super extra powerful. Like Dracula in a monster truck.
He's always doing crazy things.
Doc is like, wow, this is wild. And he sees Ellie tied down somewhere on a security camera feed. And you could totally tell in his brain that he's like, I should save her so that I can blast her again. Depending on age, of course. I would never, I mean, the one, maybe 2 times, but she said she was old.
What you really need to see is a demonstration.
But before he can, Cochran ushers the sales family into a weird testing room designed to look like an American living room as seen in nuclear testing houses. And they throw another ad on the TV and it tells the kid,
put on your masks and watch.
But unfortunately, through the combined powers of magic and science and Dracula and monster trucks, this kid, he just collapses to the ground and he's dead and his head melts and then bugs and snakes crawl out and those kill his parents.
Oh, it's a spinal column, yuck.
That's why you should watch TV commercials. Another metaphor. This series.
I think this whole thing is a big joke.
And just in case we didn't quite piece it all together, here are a bunch of other all-American cities where kids are also wearing masks while that day's commercial tells them to tune in at 9 for some kind of giveaway. And I'm a little worried that it's gonna be like a bad giveaway, like they're gonna give away their own lives. Doc is tied up, and Cochran calmly explains that, okay, so, all right. Okay, so, back in the day, ancient Celtic peoples would sacrifice kids and during Samhain, or however you pronounce that.
The Festival of Samhain.
Which I thought was a dude, according to the earlier movies, but it also might be a festival or something. And the last time they tried this was 3,000 years ago, but wouldn't you know it, the planets are aligned right now. So Cochran wants to try it again, because wouldn't it be crazy if that worked? And to be clear, what he wants to try is killing kids to maybe control the weather. But it seems pretty nice outside. I'm actually not sure what he's...
Do I need a reason?
Did it like rain yesterday? And he's like, I'm gonna kill every child. I hate it when it rains.
I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever. A joke on the children.
Like, I think his explanation is like, back in the day, when we used to sacrifice children for the weather gods. And you're like, okay, but you need it now because...
You're not thinking about the harvest, dude.
You think my main commodity is masks, but I'm also selling a ton of corn. Again, why would you mix androids and ancient Celtic legends? It feels like too many things combined. Why not just pick one?
We don't decide these things, you know.
Androids are weird. Celtic people, very weird.
Oh, heavens, yes, thank you, sir.
Together, just sort of goofy.
We developed our first robot, which we called Stevie.
But also...
George, shut up. The video's almost over.
They throw a mask on Doc and force him to watch the evil commercial, but he destroys the TV with his sexy feet, saws off some of the restraints, and hilariously, hucks his mask on the room's camera.
Success!
The dude must have crushed at intramural frisbee at Haddonfield University back in the day. Doc then diehards his way through some air vents until he reaches the roof, and then he goes back inside.
Nope, scratch that, reverse it.
And calls his ex-wife, but she's pretty pissed at him for not taking the kids for a week now when he said he would, so he hangs up, because women, am I right?
Linda, let's...
They're always so mad when you abandon your children for a week to explore an Irish toy factory with the hot daughter of a non-specified age of one of your murdered patients so that you could blast. Why do they get so mad about that?
Man, I knew women were evil.
Have you ever had the opportunity to blast in an Irish toy factory with a woman that might be of age? You should try it. There's magic in there, and science, and androids.
Is it cold in here? Or is it just that I'm not wearing any underwear?
Anyway, whatever. He frees Ellie and sneaks back to the lab using stealth techniques that would make even Solid Snake go, I don't know. That's a little conspicuous.
Snake, are you okay? Snake? Snake!
But Doc somehow manages to sneak straight up to the main computer in the center of a big open room with essentially zero cover and press a bunch of buttons, causing the shitty ad to play everywhere in the lab, while he and Ellie sneak up into the rafters and dump a bunch of magic microchipped buttons on everybody, causing them to get laser blasted all to hell. But wait, that's not all, because Stonehenge Jr. or whatever itself wakes up and blasts Cochran so hard that he goes completely white and speechless, and I bet his pants are just soaked from the blasting. And Ellie and Doc escape and drive away, but in a twist that would only surprise you if you haven't been paying attention, turns out that Ellie is a robot now. And she attacks Doc, causing the car to crash, and her arm to pop right the hell off. And then she attacks again, so he beats her to death, but then just the arm attacks him, so he throws it, and then just the body attacks, but it mostly just falls over. And that's the end of all the attacks, but I'm a little disappointed that a severed ass didn't take a swing, or just a couple of toes. I mean, give every body part a chance. Also, ironically, this actress was originally considered for the role of Pris, Blade Runner. But at least she's got this. I think people remember this just as fondly as Blade Runner.
I've seen worse.
All she really wanted to do was play an android, which is why I think she pretty much retired after this. She hit that peak. Doc runs to the original gas station from the beginning of the movie right as the ad starts playing and calls the TV station, I guess. I guess he called CBS headquarters and is like, you gotta shut it off. And they do shut it off on 2 stations, but not a 3rd station. And do all 3 main TV stations share a common national phone number that'll be answered by somebody with the ability to make decisions on a national scale?
I can't prove it! You've gotta believe me!
Anyway, that's pretty much it, but maybe I should just keep talking.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Alright, whatever, we tried. I'll see you next week.
No, you won't.
You're the one making you make the videos! Dave is too stupid or weak to do that. I should have seen it!
Okay, he might be stupid and he might be weak, but also, he recruited me to help him with his murders in his sewer last week when I was going through a rough time, and now we're best friends.
Wait. What's happening?
Murder.
Ah! Oh, right in my gut! Oh, not the nuts! Ah! Oh, ah! Oh, ah!
As long as we can make it hotter than a summertime sizzle. Is that it?